My daily life in a TV series. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 951, Big Bear Dare to Yell at Me, Medical Center. Dr. Bailey immediately guessed that Kelly was a meat bun hitting a dog and would never come back. However, she didn't know about the gourd baby saving his grandfather, so she went to Mark again and asked him to persuade his buddy to come back. As expected, he was still stuck there and couldn't come back. Then it was Dr. Burke, then Dr. Montgomery. Finally, even the chief of surgery went. Dr. Bailey, where are the others? Adam also noticed something was wrong during the interval between surgeries. He did all kinds of surgeries. The backlog of neurosurgery surgeries was greatly reduced because the chief of surgery delegated power to the former chief of neurosurgery, Dr. Nelson, to help handle simple craniotomies. But the surgeries of other departments began to backlog again. He couldn't help it, and came out of the operating room for the first time in 3 days to inquire about the situation. "I thought you wanted to stay in the operating room all the time and not come out?" Dr. Bailey joked. "No way." Adam spread his hands and said, "Tomorrow is Valentine's Day." He had solved the 7th level of the game set by Peggy a few days ago, but he thought that Valentine's Day would be in a few days. Adam thought that he would wait and give Peggy a surprise on Valentine's Day. The song of 777 played by them would be even more lingering. But who knew that Dr. Shept would suddenly go on strike and a large number of patients would come? The directors of other departments are now nowhere to be found. Now his need to increase his lifespan is not so urgent, and it is enough to proceed step by step. He does not want to miss this Valentine's Day with Peggy and take the possible double reward of Valentine's Day clearance. But according to this trend, if these famous doctors do not come back in time, he will most likely not be able to celebrate Valentine's Day tomorrow night, because some operations cannot be delayed at all. When Adam thought about having to have surgery and missing Peggy's increasingly weird brain games and rewards, he felt a little overwhelmed for the first time, and felt that surgery to increase lifespan was not so good. They all went to ask Shept to come back, but they got stuck in it. Dr. Bailey complained, "Adam, why don't you go over there?" "I found that it's useless to use empathy to persuade him." "No, them, and it's still up to you, a perfect person who has never made any mistakes, to go." "Okay, I'll go now." Adam thought about it and agreed. After that, he went to explain a few things, and then drove quickly to Dr. Shept's forest villa. He was not confident that he could persuade the stubborn Dr. Shept. After all, doctors can never say absolutely. He just wanted to try, at least to persuade Dr. Burke and others to come back immediately and take over their business. In this way, Adam was confident that he would be able to free up the next 3 days. The top of the forest mountain, this place that made Dr. Montgomery's soul, often, haunted, dreamed of, was seriously unfriendly to ladies, especially those with incompetent bladders. In front of the trailer house, there were many people lying. Everyone is a fan of Jew. They are sitting in the classic Jew pose, holding beer and drinking it with a gloomy look. Obviously, everyone has a past that they can never let go of. Everyone. Adam got out of the car, looked around at everyone, and said speechlessly, "Not that bad, right?" "Of course you won't," Kelly complained. "You have never made a mistake, at least you have never caused unnecessary death of patients due to obvious mistakes. You can't understand our feelings." Dr. Shept raised the beer in his hand to Kelly. Kelly opened another can and took a big sip. "How long are you going to be hurt?" Adam couldn't refute these facts, and said helplessly, "Patients are pouring into the hospital, and the accumulated surgeries need you to handle them. We are all murderers." Dr. Shept smiled bitterly. "No matter how many people you save, it can't change this fact. You are too extreme." Adam shook his head and said, "How can you be a murderer?" "I know that when you were preparing your court materials, you sorted out your medical case files. There are far more people who can't be saved than those you save. But this is normal. Doctors are human beings, not gods. What we can do is limited. Remember Dr. Trudeau's famous saying? Sometimes heal, often help, always comfort." Help and comfort are the mainstream. Healing is originally a minority. Needless to say, I understand the general principles. Dr. Shep took a big sip of beer and smiled. But you don't understand how I feel now. You all understand? Adam looked at the others. Yeah. Kelly and Mark nodded. You are the only one who can't understand. Dr. Burke and the others didn't say anything, but they also showed a complex look of you don't understand. You are really a pervert. Then why didn't you feel sad before? Adam smiled. Derek, don't tell me this is your first time. Of course not. Dr. Shep shook his head. Then why is it this time? Adam looked at him. Is it because you were not famous before? You could accept the setbacks, know how to learn lessons, become a better doctor, and help more people in need. And now, you are successful and famous, and you are the famous top neurosurgeon Dr. Derek Shep, so you can't accept that such a medical accident will happen to you again? The fact is, it's not because you care about the pain caused by the accident itself, but because you care about your face and pride, which makes you unacceptable to be sued by the family of the patient you have invested in your feelings. No, Dr. Shep said loudly. What is that? Adam looked at him. Give me a reason. Don't use a mysterious feeling that you can't understand. There are so many doctors in the world, and basically all of them have encountered this kind of thing. Are you the only one who has such a strong feeling, so strong that you completely deny the profession of doctor, and even compare it to a killer? Dr. Shep opened his mouth to speak, but didn't know how to start. That's God putting this idea directly into your brain. Adam smiled and said, it makes you feel inexplicably that this is neither the first nor the last time, and it's not even a special medical accident. It's very important. It's so important that you deny the medicine that you loved in the first half of your life, and deny the basic fact that doctors are curing diseases and saving lives. So it's God messing around? Seeing Dr. Shep speechless, Adam smiled and said, there is always a reason for everything. Don't you want to reflect on it now? Then think about it carefully and choose one. Dr. Shep was looked at by Adam, and neither of them was the answer he wanted. But what Adam said made sense, and Adam had saved him before, and he was a real lifesaver. Dr. Shep threw the beer in his hand into the distant jungle with a breath stuck in his throat, and then yelled to vent his emotions. Mark and Kelly also yelled, roar. But before others could catch up and have a classic scene in movies and TV dramas where people vent their emotions by yelling, a unique, low and domineering roar was heard in the jungle. Everyone. Chapter 952. The lingering sound of Valentine's Day lingers in the mountains and forests. In front of the trailer house, Dr. Shep yelled to vent, and Mark and Kelly echoed, just as the emotions were developing like in a movie or TV series, and everyone was yelling to vent. A special existence joined the yelling party in advance. Before seeing the person, you can hear the voice first. Holy shit. Everyone was stunned and looked in the direction of the roar. When they saw a huge figure walking out of the jungle, they stood up and backed away, spitting out foul language. Bear. Dr. Montgomery yelled, damn it, Derek, I told you not to live here. In order to win back her husband, Dr. Shep, she had lived here with him for a while. Because of this, she even got a kudzu rash on her shameful parts, and she almost died of discomfort. Now I know that there are bears in this mountain forest. When she was still here, if she encountered one, or even when she was urinating in the jungle, if she ran into one, she was terrified just thinking about it. Let's go inside quickly. Kelly trembled and said, the bear shouldn't be able to scratch this iron sheet, right? Damn it, someone come and help me. If she could walk, she would have run in long ago. But when she saw such a big brown bear not far away, her legs were already weak, and she couldn't even move her feet. The chief surgeon, Dr. Burke and others all swallowed their saliva secretly and were extremely nervous. Although they were used to seeing life and death, they were facing other people, and the most important thing was people. Now it was an adult brown bear with a body length of 2.8 meters, a shoulder height of 1.5 meters, and a weight of more than 500 kilograms. More importantly, they clearly remembered that only last year there was a person who dared to touch the little bear and was disemboweled by the bear's claws. That look was so miserable. If it weren't for Adam, he would have died miserably long ago. Oh, Adam. Everyone realized that they had the biggest support here, the powerful Adam, who was known as the muscle of the medical center. Adam, the chief surgeon, and others looked at Adam. "Don't move," Adam said calmly, and then took 2 steps forward, 5 or 6 meters away, and stared at the brown bear. Roar! Seeing that some people didn't give it face, the big bear stretched its neck and opened its bloody mouth at Adam. The violent roar resounded through the forest, deafening. Roar! Seeing this, Adam did not show any weakness and also roared like it. Everyone in the hospital behind him was sweating, and Dr. Montgomery and Miss Kelly felt a little bit overwhelmed. But then something happened that surprised them. Roar! After Adam made a confrontational roar, the mighty big bear looked at Adam and roared and retreated. Step by step, he retreated into the jungle, and then turned around and quickly disappeared from everyone's sight with a much lighter pace than before. Everyone looked at each other, almost thinking that they were drunk and dizzy. What was going on? Okay, the danger is over. Seeing this, Adam turned around and smiled at everyone. How is it possible? Kelly was incredulous. Adam, you roared away an adult brown bear? Yes, Adam nodded and teased. But you must not learn from me. I have practiced it specially. Next time you meet one, hide if you can. Practice it specially. Dr. Montgomery was at a loss whether to laugh or cry. Can this be practiced? How to practice it? It's very simple. Hunt more, Adam explained. After you have developed a murderous aura that can be sensed by brown bears, you can roar at it fearlessly and it will definitely turn around and run away. That's it? Mark didn't believe it. It's easier said than done. Adam glanced at him. When he was in the mountains with Juno and Karen, he was really a bully. The number of animals he hunted was countless. Brown bears and other animals are protected animals, so they were spared from the murderous hands. Normal people cannot sense this murderous aura, but animals are very sensitive. Just like the 5 big dogs of Robin's family, they barked happily when someone came, and they looked like ferocious guard dogs. But when Adam went over and glared at them, the 5 ferocious dogs were so scared that they could only whimper. They were used to freely entering and leaving the mistress's bedroom, so they could only break their biological clocks and lie down in the living room obediently, not daring to make a sound. Even if they were worried about the safety of the mistress, they couldn't do it anymore. And even if they couldn't roar back the brown bear, Adam, who had amazing strength and speed, bullet time, and could use tools, could easily kill the brown bear. It was for these reasons that Adam could roar and make the brown bear retreat and flee. Animals are very sensitive to danger. Once they encounter a threat, in order to protect themselves and everyone, it is also legal for Adam to kill it. So, after feeling the ill intentions in Adam's eyes, the bear ran away. It's so dangerous here. I'm running away. I'm running away. I won't come here again, and I have to tell my own bear children not to come here. So scary. Are we going to leave? Adam looked around at everyone. Maybe this brown bear is going back to call his friends to come over for a dinner party. Let's go. Kelly shouted immediately. I told you not to come here. The forest is too scary. Dr. Shept was also frightened by the sudden appearance of this big bear. Most of the decadent emotions that he had previously pretended to be sad for God were also dispersed by the big bear's roar. Faced with everyone's repeated persuasion, he half-heartedly packed up his things and left. Originally, he was thinking of building a villa similar to Iron Man's Malibu 10,880 on this mountain with Meredith as their new home. But now he thinks he needs to think about it again. When everyone returned to the hospital, Adam's pressure was greatly reduced. He was busy all day and finally completed all the surgeries that could not wait on Valentine's Day. Then, Adam said goodbye to the director and drove to New Jersey. He was going to hand in his homework, the papers for the master's degree and doctoral entrance examinations in mathematics have been written, but they still need to be reviewed by Peggy Adler, a doctor of mathematics. I haven't seen Peggy for a month. Adam deliberately set aside 3 days. There is no other way. Adam solved 7 difficult math problems, and combined with Monica's 777 song, he instantly understood Peggy's feelings. These 7 questions not only correspond to the structure of the 777 song, but the answers to each question are also in line with the melody of the 777 song. Peggy is indeed a mathematician who loves music. The romantic song of 777 that she wanted was conveyed to Adam in a vivid, interesting and implicit way in this game. Fortunately, Adam has enough IQ to solve these answers in time, and he has enough energy to play this perfect 777 song with her. Otherwise, anyone who changes will either be unable to solve the difficult math problems or unable to understand Peggy's musical voice. Even if you have both, in the end, you will have to look at the complicated and long-lasting melody and feel like skipping school. Valentine's Day in 2000 is destined to be extremely romantic. Chapter 953 Peggy, Adam, and Sheldon, New Jersey. Valentine's Day, New Jersey. Isn't that right? Adam explained the process of solving the problem and the answer, and revealed the hidden musical attribute. Theoretically, you passed the test. Peggy smiled and said, now it depends on the practice. You can't make any mistakes when you play it. Amaze me. Please listen to the performance. Adam walked in front of the most exquisite musical instrument in the world. 1, 2, 123, 3, 5, 4, 32, 2, 246, 246, 47, 57, 67. Peggy squinted her eyes, shook her ponytail, and hummed the math 777 song she had prepared. 447 times 365, 147 times 2000, 1447 times 10,000, 547 times 1000, 72 times 625, 424 times 365. Valentine's Day in 2000 was spent in the sound of this romantic music. The lingering sound lingered in the air for 3 days. After the holiday, Adam suddenly received an unexpected call. MacArthur Genius Award? Adam said in surprise. Yes. On the other end of the phone, the staff of the organizing committee of the MacArthur Genius Award said enthusiastically, Dr. Adam Duncan, congratulations on winning the 2000 MacArthur Genius Award. Who else won the award this year? Adam was slightly surprised, then relieved and smiled. The staff on the other side was surprised by Adam's attitude. The MacArthur Genius Award was established in 1981. It was named in memory of John D. MacArthur, the founder of Bank Life Disaster Company, and was established by the MacArthur Foundation. The prize is awarded to outstanding people with extraordinary creativity in various fields. Not only is the prize money as high as $500,000, but unlike other prizes, it does not specify the purpose and there are no additional conditions. The winners can use it freely. The selection mechanism is also very special. It is a private search and anonymous nomination review. It does not require individuals to submit applications or interviews. It only needs to follow the selection criteria such as achievement, originality and foresight. The winners are usually unaware of it in advance. Faced with a sudden call, many people will think it is a scam call, especially when the staff member who makes the call has a three-country accent. 80% of them will be regarded as a scam call, and this suspicion ratio increases year by year. So much so that when the MacArthur Foundation contacted the award winners again, they dared not use staff members with three-country accents again, for fear of causing embarrassing misunderstandings. However, when the winners confirmed that the news of the award was true and accurate, they were almost all very surprised, and some even lost their composure. After all, $500,000 falling from the sky is really too good to be true. Adam's indifferent attitude naturally made the staff a little uncomfortable. However, when the staff thought of Adam's information, they were immediately relieved. $500,000 is not a small amount for outstanding people in any field, but for Adam, a billionaire, it is just an insignificant number. With this time of surprise and excitement, it is estimated that $500,000 has been automatically earned. And Dr. Peggy Adler, the staff suppressed his envy and asked what Adam really wanted to ask. She and you are jointly nominated for a new viral therapy for malignant glioma. What else? Adam smiled at Peggy beside him. Peggy was also a little surprised, but then she continued to play with binary numbers to study computer logic. The Matrix was released last year. If it is possible for humans to live in the Matrix, then binary numbers represent the origin of the universe. As a top mathematician, It is reasonable to study the origin of the universe. If it were someone else, the staff would politely let the other party see the list of names to be announced later. But Adam's request was reasonable and hard to refuse. So they kindly paused the process of continuing to make calls and patiently read the list to Adam. Dr. Sheldon Cooper? Adam was really surprised this time. Sheldon also won the award? Peggy couldn't help but speak. Yes, the staff confirmed it verbally, but his mind was already full of imagination. This voice is so nice. The life of a billionaire is really enviable. It's no wonder that Adam and Peggy were surprised, because the MacArthur Genius Award is generally awarded to outstanding figures in the application field. Pure theoretical research is too difficult. It is normal that there is no breakthrough in dozens or hundreds of years before a new theory that can change the world can be developed. The impact of the advancement under the original theoretical framework on the world is actually very limited, or it is not obvious enough. Unlike the application field, once there is a new application, it can immediately be transformed into a force to change the world, which is very eye-catching. Even Peggy is the same. Her talent is the top in the field of mathematics, the crown of science. But if she doesn't have enough inspiration and luck, she will not be able to get out of the field of pure mathematics. She will only leave a legend in the scientific community or even just the pure mathematics community, and will not break the circle at all. This time, if it weren't for Adam, she would have focused her attention on the new viral therapy for malignant glioma in the application field. She would not have been selected by the MacArthur Genius Award at all. Sheldon has the same dilemma. He studies theoretical physics, which is the strongest science after mathematics, and he looks down on everyone. But if it weren't for Adam's butterfly effect, which forced him to work harder than in the original Time and Space, he would have no chance of winning the MacArthur Genius Award. Instead, it was Leonard's experimental physics field, which he often despised, and the handsome colleague who cheated on Leonard won the MacArthur Genius Award, which made Sheldon envious and jealous, and Leonard licked his ass. In the original Time and Space, when Leonard, the handsome colleague, came over, because he was the winner of the MacArthur Genius Award, even Sheldon had to watch in an orderly manner. This was also the first time that he did not publicly or privately mock experimental physics as something that was played by inferior people, copying other people's words, without any originality, and was a physics engineer. It is conceivable that the MacArthur Genius Award is still very important to Sheldon. In the original Time and Space, he definitely did not get it. Now that Sheldon suddenly won the MacArthur Genius Award, it is conceivable how surprised Adam and Peggy, who are knowledgeable, are. When the staff member explained the reason why Sheldon won the award, Adam and Peggy were relieved again. Sure enough, although it is still theoretical physics, it has application prospects. At least it will be in my lifetime. When you contact the winners, can Dr. Sheldon Cooper be the last one to contact? Adam made a request. The staff member was stunned, but immediately agreed. Sure, when do you want me to notify him? As long as I notify him today, it's fine. He didn't want to offend a billionaire because of such a small matter. It doesn't take that long. Adam smiled and said, I just want to give him a surprise before you notify him. Half an hour. You can call him after half an hour. Okay. The staff member agreed immediately. By the way, before Adam hung up, he remembered something and smiled. Dr. Peggy Adler is right next to me. Why don't you talk to her directly to save the trouble of notifying her again? Staff member. Chapter 954. Sheldon fainted in anger. On the phone. Dr. Peggy Adler, on behalf of the MacArthur Foundation, I would like to inform you that you have won the 2000 MacArthur Genius Award. The award ceremony will be held at the Chicago headquarters in a month. The staff was stunned for a moment by what Adam said about Dr. Peggy Adler, who was right next to him, but he quickly reacted, accepted this reasonable scenario and reasonable advice, and conveyed the award news to Peggy, who answered the phone. After hanging up the phone, the staff couldn't help but criticize. Damn rich man. He had seen Peggy's photo. In front of Peggy's beauty and talent, Adam's beauty and talent that matched her were completely ignored by him. In his eyes, Adam was just a billionaire. And he was a billionaire who was much older than Peggy, using his wealth to possess this genius and beautiful scientist. Shameful, hateful, enviable. If it were him, he would never use his wealth to pressure others. He would definitely use his sincerity and humor to have a passionate love affair with this genius and beautiful scientist girl. Adam and his friends didn't care about the staff's desires. 9 out of 10 people who have met Peggy would think so. Adam has already focused on the call to Sheldon. "Do you want to tease Sheldon?" Peggy smiled. "Tease Sheldon? It will never go out of style. Watch me." Adam pinched Peggy's nose, picked up the phone, smiled at Peggy, and dialed the number. "Hi, Sheldon." Sheldon looked alert on the other end of the phone. Now he already knows Adam's bad taste, and he wants to tease him from time to time. Just like the last time Flash Birdman Sheldon, it really turned his world upside down. Until now, if there is a regular meeting of Sheldon's board of directors, the noise gives him a headache. If it were someone else, he would either retaliate or hide as far away as possible. But Adam is a very special existence. He has money power, and he is particularly good at using it. Among the 7 standing Sheldons of the Sheldon Council and Sheldon's Mind, Sheldon the fanatic fan, Sheldon the Texas cowboy, Sheldon the scientist, and Sheldon the funny man all bow down to Adam's money power. Flash Birdman Sheldon was born because of Adam. Only Sheldon the Misophobia and Sheldon the Main Throne are very unhappy with Adam. Not to mention revenge on Adam. Even if he stays away from Adam, his throne may be overthrown by the 5 standing officers headed by Sheldon the fanatic fan. The only Sheldon the Misophobia who stands with him is a fence-sitter who may rebel at any time. Sheldon the Main Throne, representing Sheldon's main consciousness, said that it was too difficult for him. There was no way. All he could do was to be wary of Adam's bad taste. "Sheldon, I just saw the list of MacArthur Genius Award this year," Adam said with a smile. "So?" Sheldon said cautiously. "You want to attack me? My genius and visionary achievements have been ignored again?" Then he thought of something and said sarcastically with envy and jealousy, "Okay, I'll cooperate with you." Which self-righteous, arrogant, but liar who has no constructive effect on the new scientific theories that truly promote world change and is just doing some scientific engineering work. "Let me guess, you must be one of them, right? You are so smart." Adam smiled at Peggy. "Peggy and I both won the award this time." "I knew it." Sheldon kept shaking his head with disdain. "Stupid MacArthur Genius Award. They don't know how to appreciate real science. They only look for you who use the theories we created to play with applications. It's so sad." "Guess who else?" Adam said with a smile. "No tilde." Sheldon was stunned, and then he screamed in horror. "Don't tell me it's George Jr. The MacArthur Genius Award is not limited to scientists. The award covers outstanding people in all fields. Every year, there are 20 to 25 people. So if Sheldon's brother George Jr. really made outstanding achievements in the tire industry, he might really win the MacArthur Genius Award as a tire doctor." At that time, George Jr., who was looked down upon by Sheldon since childhood, cheated in exams, licked butter directly on the butter knife, and was completely unbearable to Sheldon, who was obsessed with misophobia, would be given the title of doctor. Then he would pass over the real doctor and win the Genius Award. When he thought of this happening, George Jr. would hold the trophy and prize money of the Genius Award and show off in front of him. "I am the real genius. See, this is recognized." "No," Sheldon screamed in horror again. His imagination was too strong, and he had fully displayed the scene. George Jr.'s arrogant face was so clear that Sheldon was now angry and anxious because of this mental picture, unable to accept it, and had a sign of fainting. "Don't get excited." Adam noticed that Sheldon's breathing was not right, and he also remembered that Sheldon had fainted when he recalled things. He was afraid that he could not bear the stimulation, so he quickly comforted him. "It's not George." "Tell me, it's not Missy either." Sheldon's shaking body stabilized a little, and he covered his chest and said with lingering fear, "It's not Missy either." Adam gave a positive answer. "That's good." Sheldon patted his chest and breathed a sigh of relief. But what Adam said next made him fall directly to the ground. "There is indeed a Cooper who is one of the winners of this year's MacArthur Genius Award," Adam said with a smile. But before he finished speaking, he heard a sound of someone falling over there and was startled. "Sheldon, are you okay?" No tilde Sheldon, who fainted on the ground, closed his eyes and murmured, "Why is this happening? How could it be my mother? Have we traveled through time to the Middle Ages? Okay, stop teasing him. Peggy quickly ended the joke, took the phone and said, Sheldon, Adam is teasing you. The Cooper who won this year's MacArthur Genius Award with us is you. Dr. Sheldon Cooper. Me? Sheldon, who fell to the ground, opened his eyes. Yes, it's you, Peggy complained. Besides you, who else is worthy of winning the Genius Award with us? How did you think of George, Missy and your mother? I won the award, Tilda. Sheldon had already stood up on the other end of the phone, and a smile appeared on the corners of his mouth. Facing Peggy's complaints, he said happily, what a surprise. Then he hurriedly concealed his happiness. It's not surprising that I won the award. No one is more qualified than me to win this Genius Award. In fact, I was wrong. It's not surprising at all. Winning the award was completely expected. It's just that this award came too late. I thought it had fallen, so much so that even George and Missy could win the award. Even my mother, a devout believer, can win the award for religious reasons. It seems that it still has a little professional bottom line. This is not surprising. It needs a real genius like me to support its Genius Award brand. From childhood to adulthood, I'm used to it. Chapter 955. Rich Sheldon, Pasadena. When Sheldon learned that he was the winner of the MacArthur Genius Award, not his brother and sister, and certainly not his mother, but himself, he finally jumped up happily. I don't know what I should do. How about notifying my mother and grandmother first? Sheldon chattered. Wait, I know. I'll do a self-interview first and then post it online. Oh, and there's also the $500,000 prize. My broadband can finally be upgraded again. My train, my figurines, my collection of comics, my new game. I'll have to check if anyone has studied adamantium recently. It would be great if I could replace my skeleton with Wolverine's. I won't have to be afraid of anything anymore. Don't be so idealistic. Adam couldn't help laughing and said, even if I replace you with a Wolverine body, you'll still be as cowardly as hell. Although Wolverine is hard to kill, it hurts a lot when it's injured. Aren't you afraid of pain? Actually, I don't like Wolverine's body very much either. Sheldon immediately changed his mind. Although the prize money is $500,000, Adam continued to remind him, since the tax law was revised in 1986, all income, regardless of the source, is subject to equal taxation. The prize money of the MacArthur Genius Award is no exception. Not only must it be paid to the federal government, but also to the state. In total, you can only get 45%, which is $225,000. This amount of money is not only not enough to build a body of Wolverine. Even if you go to spend, it can only be regular consumption. Otherwise, any whimsical consumption of yours will not even be enough. And this is the first time you have received so much money. Don't you buy something for your mother and grandmother who love you the most? I remember that your consumption habit is 46.9% after tax. The remaining 53.1% must be hidden in bank accounts, hidden peanut candy jars, and the hollow butts of superhero figurines. It seems that you do have a reason to buy more superhero figurines. Don't buy Green Lantern. Buy the Hulk. You can hide more. 46.9% of $225,000 is $105,525, which is indeed a lot. But a Star Trek Spock figure is $179. A Star Trek Enterprise model is $226. A Doctor Who-shaped seasoning bottle is $218. A Star Trek badge is $698. A Star Wars lightsaber is $1,200. $105,525 is just 87.9 lightsabers and 151.1 Star Trek badges. This is just the regular version. If you want a limited edition signed collector's edition, $105,525 is just a few lightsabers or a dozen badges. This is not even counting what you want to buy for your beloved mother and grandmother. If you launch a few more limited edition signed collector's editions 2.0 and 3.0 of these peripheral figures, you will be back to the time before you won the award. And those bed sheets and quilt covers, lamps and seals printed with your favorite characters and elements are not cheap. How did you know I hid the money in the peanut candy jar and the hollow butts of superheroes? Sheldon immediately grasped the key point. "Don't worry," Adam said perfunctorily. "The peanut candy jar has a snake guard to help you guard it. It's very safe. The hollow butts of superhero figurines, no one will pick it." "That's true." Sheldon nodded and agreed with Adam's judgment about the snake guard. This is also the reason why he usually puts thousands of US dollars in the peanut candy jar as backup cash. As for superhero figurines, he has too many. Even if ordinary people want to steal them, they will have to look for a long time. No one will spend that energy to desecrate the body of a superhero for that little money. At least in Sheldon's opinion, that's the case, and he usually only puts $50 in Green Lantern's butt for emergency. "Don't rush to call," Adam smiled and said. "Wait for the MacArthur Genius Award staff to call you. After confirmation, you can tell your mother and grandmother the good news." "Maybe I am teasing you." "You are teasing me now." Sheldon shook his head and laughed, very confidently. "Are you sure?" Adam teased. Sheldon stretched his neck, showing an expression of belief and disbelief on his face, and then hung up the phone without waiting for Adam to say anything. Obviously, although he knew that Adam was probably teasing him again, he fell into a chain of suspicion again. He sat on his throne, staring at the phone, waiting for the legendary confirmation message. Ding-a-ling-a-ling. At this moment, the phone rang. "I am Dr. Sheldon Lee Cooper." As soon as Sheldon answered the phone, he immediately introduced himself. "I know." Adam smiled on the other end of the phone. "I'm waiting for a call," Sheldon said dissatisfiedly. "I know too." Adam laughed and then took the initiative to hang up the phone. "Anyway, it's not half an hour yet." Adam doesn't mind teasing Sheldon again, but he knew when to stop. He didn't keep fighting like Sheldon's future opponents and rivals. Over there, Sheldon waited for a while, and finally got his call. "Is this Dr. Sheldon Lee Cooper?" "Yes." Sheldon dragged his voice with reserve. "I'm a staff member of the MacArthur Foundation. Congratulations on winning the 2000 MacArthur Genius Award." The staff really followed Adam's instructions and notified Sheldon on time. Well, Sheldon leaned back, and his tone began to become sarcastic. "I've been waiting for your call, starting 11 years ago." Although he doesn't understand irony, he is also a well-known figure for his sarcasm and sharp tongue. The staff was stunned, and quickly turned to the personal resume after the list to confirm that he was not dazzled, and then he said speechlessly, "Dr. Cooper, if I'm not mistaken, you are only 20 years old now, right?" "Are you sure it was 11 years ago, not 1 year ago?" "Of course I'm right," Sheldon said confidently. 11 years ago, when I was 9 years old, I completed the overall calculation for NASA's Ahead of the Time rocket recovery plan." If your MacArthur Genius Award is really looking for visionary geniuses as you advertised, then you should have awarded the award to me 11 years ago, instead of dragging it on until now. Look at who you have awarded the award to over the years: anthropologists, linguists, and even ornithologists and geologists. Are you kidding? Dr. Cooper. The staff member took a long breath, suppressed the surging true energy in his body, and smiled bitterly. The MacArthur Genius Award is given to outstanding people from all walks of life, and it is impossible to be limited to pure theoretical science. And you and Dr. Peggy Adler, at the age of 20, are the youngest winners of the MacArthur Genius Award. You should be proud. "There is nothing to be proud of," Sheldon said proudly. "I am the one who will win the Nobel Prize in Physics." "Dr. Cooper, please go to the Chicago headquarters in a month to attend the award ceremony." The staff didn't want to listen to Sheldon anymore, and quickly said everything that needed to be said, and then added one sentence: "If there is anything unclear, you can consult your good friends, Dr. Adam Duncan and Dr. Peggy Adler." Goodbye. After saying that, he decisively hung up the phone. "How naughty." Sheldon listened to the dead tone on the phone, smiled and shook his head, and then dialed again. He hasn't finished yet. Why is he asking Adam and Peggy instead of you, the real owner? Chapter 956, The Origin of the Bad Relationship Between Rajesh and Howard. The MacArthur Genius Award has come to an end for now. The award ceremony will be held in a month. Adam is looking forward to Sheldon's reaction at that time. Maybe Adam can persuade him to drink a glass of wine and go on stage. That will be very interesting. It's a pity that Sheldon is only 20 years old now, not yet 21 years old, which is allowed to drink. It's okay in private, but in public places like award ceremonies, drinking is not allowed. Adam naturally can't persuade him to drink in public, otherwise, Sheldon can explain in public where Uranus is. After all, he should be considered the most professional. But Adam doubts whether Sheldon will dare to go there, because that is Chicago. There are 3 world-famous symbols. One is the Chicago typewriter, the second is the Chicago Police Department CPD, and the third is the Shameless. These 3 can actually be regarded as one, all representing chaos and danger. CPD, NYPD, New York Police Department, and LAPD, Los Angeles Police Department, are known as the 3 major police departments in the American TV world, and they are all famous. But just imagine, where would the police department be so famous? As long as the abbreviation is mentioned, everyone knows it. That's right. That can only be Vice City. Gotham City in the DC universe is an expert. Beep, beep. Adam was just giving up the idea of teasing Sheldon and discussing the mystery of the binary origin numbers in the Matrix with Peggy, when the pager on the bedside table rang. It was the chief of surgery calling him. "I have to go." Adam took a look, kissed Peggy, turned over and started to get dressed. Peggy didn't say anything. It was already the 3rd day after Valentine's Day. The romantic Math 777 song she had prepared had been performed perfectly. For Adam's homework, she not only gave the highest score, but also gave 5+ signs. The wait of a month was obviously worth it. Such interesting games will have to be organized frequently in the future. Adam walked out of Peggy's apartment and drove back to New York, reciting a poem unconsciously. The lingering sound lingers in the beams and the sun rises high. I will not go to court for 3 days without going to court early. It's Fallen Medical Center. What's going on? Adam asked as he stepped forward to take over the case while watching the endless flow of ambulances. The concert of Florence Foster Jenkins collapsed, and many injured people are being sent here, Lexi said quickly. Adam, the chief surgeon rushed to Adam's side in 2 steps. Leave this to them. There are patients over there who need you to see. What patients? Adam did not stop what he was doing. Mrs. Jenkins. The chief surgeon leaned close to Adam's ear and whispered. You guys take a look first. There are so many patients here. Adam frowned and refused directly. Are you kidding? As soon as he saw the chief surgeon's expression, he knew that Mrs. Jenkins probably had no major problems, but because she was rich and a top-class person. So the chief surgeon wanted to provide her with the best medical services, aka whether she was sick or not, or just frightened. Let Adam go over to see her first. Unfortunately, Adam didn't buy it at all. In the past 3 days, he has been accompanying Peggy to play the perfect and romantic song of Mathematics 777, and has delayed his daily task of curing diseases, saving lives and increasing lifespan, although the previous 3 days have increased his lifespan by half a year. But in the matter of curing diseases, saving lives and increasing lifespan, the more the better, as long as the yin and yang are in harmony and not arrogant or impatient. At this moment, the concert site collapsed, and a large number of critically ill patients were being sent here, which was the best opportunity for him to make up for his task. He would not waste time on her minor illness just because the other party was the most upper-class person. In the past, he might have been forced by the rules of the game, but now, he no longer needs to worry about these. As long as he does not go against the 4 mountains, or the entire rules themselves, Adam does not need to wrong himself for anyone, and his thoughts are extremely clear. Okay. The chief of surgery looked at Adam's busy figure saving people, tangled for a while, and finally said nothing more, and reluctantly agreed to Adam's suggestion. Just as Adam guessed, Mrs. Jenkins and those people are actually not a big deal. But she pointed out that Adam would go over to help her check, and he naturally would not refuse, because there were many critically injured people caused by the collapse. Adam was in the emergency room. He treated one and assigned one to the corresponding doctor for surgery. After finishing his work, seeing the chief surgeon came to invite again, Adam did not refuse again and came to take a look. In the VIP ward, an old lady was lying on the bed, and next to her was a handsome middle-aged butler in a suit, who was chatting and laughing with the lady. "Mrs. Jenkins, this is Dr. Duncan," the chief surgeon introduced the lady. "Hello, Dr. Duncan." The old lady smiled and greeted Adam. "Hello, Mrs. Jenkins." Adam nodded and smiled at her, but his eyes were attracted by a short man next to him. "Don't call me that, just call me Florence." The old lady waved her hand and smiled. Seeing Adam's eyes on her, she immediately smiled and introduced the two parties. "Dr. Duncan, this is Mr. Sam Wolowitz, a very good musician and my piano accompanist." "Hello, Mr. Wolowitz." Adam smiled and extended his hand to the familiar face. "Hello, Dr. Duncan." Sam Wolowitz, even though he is already in his 30s, is still very shy, with a soft voice and a hint of a daughter, not as coquettish as his son. "That's right. This Mr. Wolowitz has a face exactly like Howard Wolowitz. This face and this last name are 90% likely to be the father who abandoned Howard and his mother, lived a carefree life outside, and was always used by Howard to deceive sympathy. Now it seems that Howard's legendary father is mostly a music fanatic who has been chasing his dream in the music industry. And Howard not only inherited his height and appearance, but also his musical talent. In the future, Howard will write songs for his wife Bernadette, sing and play by himself, and sing with his friends in the Big Bang Theory. That is quite talented." The former flirtatious and slutty woman has returned to her roots, leaving only the only flirtation left, and it is a romantic flirtation. Knock knock. Just when Adam was amused by the fact that he had unexpectedly met Howard's legendary father, there was a knock on the door. Another familiar face suddenly appeared, which surprised Adam. "Dr. Duncan, can we talk alone?" The familiar face smiled awkwardly at everyone, and then asked Adam. "Okay." Adam looked at Sam Wolowitz, and then at the familiar face at the door, and felt like laughing. But fortunately, he had good self-control and held back, but he was also very curious about what the other party wanted to say. So he agreed immediately and said to the old lady, "Sorry, I'll go out for a while." The old lady smiled, without any abnormality. But the elegant and easy-going handsome middle-aged butler standing next to her showed dissatisfaction. But Adam didn't look at him, and walked out the door. "What's your name?" "Dr. V.M. Kuspari." This familiar face said the name Adam expected. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 957. Trust me, don't heed the local delicacies. Medical Center. Dr. Kuspari. Adam endured and endured, but after knowing that the other party was indeed the person he imagined, he couldn't help laughing. "Can I help you with anything?" "That's right. The man in front of him is the father of Rajesh in the Big Bang Theory, the current head of the Iron Man family of the Three Kingdoms. If Rajesh is Iron Man Tony Stark, then Dr. V.M. Kuspari is Iron Man's father who laid the foundation for Iron Man's achievements. Howard Stark, of course, he is also a gynecologist. In terms of wealth and profession, Dr. V.M. Kuspari is quite similar to Adam. In fact, if he had only met him alone, or Sam Wolowitz, who was suspected to be Howard's father, alone, Adam would not have laughed so unprofessionally. It was really that the two of them appeared at the same time, which gave Adam a shocking and weird feeling, which was too strong. Rajesh and Howard, in the eyes of Leonard's mother Beverly, are a natural and unquestionable pair, and the 300-pound Sailor Moon nodded repeatedly in agreement and agreed to the future good friends. They are both students now. If you think about it, they are both geniuses. They may have graduated from college now. One should be a graduate student, and the other may be studying for a doctorate. One is in MIT in Boston, the other is in Cambridge University in England. They are far apart. They have not met yet, but their old fathers have miraculously met at the New York Medical Center. The world is so wonderful. How can Adam not smile? "Dr. Duncan, a friend of mine is in a serious condition. Please help with the consultation." Rajesh's father, who was guilty and suspicious, couldn't help showing an embarrassed look when he saw Adam's smile. but he could only suppress it and force a smile. Of course, Adam agreed. He really wanted to meet Rajesh's father's friend. VIP ward, Dr. Duncan. This is Michelle, Rajesh's father introduced Adam. Hi, Dr. Duncan. On the hospital bed, Michelle, who looked like a blonde young woman, smiled weakly at Adam. Hi, Michelle. Adam smiled at the blonde young woman, then looked at Rajesh's father who was embarrassed at the side. Dr. Kuspari, what's the situation with your girlfriend? Not a girl. Rajesh's father wanted to deny it, but when he met Michelle's resentful eyes, he swallowed the words that were about to come out of his mouth and could only speak vaguely. I came to New York for an exchange. She said that there was a super rich concert in the evening, and she had to go to watch it. As a result, this happened. After being hit, she is not recovering very well now. She has some difficulty breathing. I would like to ask you to help. Her chest drainage tube is leaking. Adam took a stethoscope and listened. His face suddenly became serious. Cindy, give her pure oxygen, and then see if there is any room in the operating room. Is it serious? Rajesh's father was shocked. It may be a tracheal tear. Do a bronchoscopy first. Adam nodded and said, the operating room is just in case. Rajesh's father breathed a sigh of relief. As long as the cause of the disease is found, it will be easy to deal with. He is a doctor and knows how to repair tracheal tears. For Adam, a famous doctor, it is a piece of cake. Dr. Kuspari, do you have her medical records? Adam looked at him. Where has she been recently? Is she feeling unwell? What do you mean? Rajesh's father was stunned. I suspect she has other diseases, Adam said seriously, so please cooperate. Rajesh's father was silent for a moment. Under Adam's gaze, he hesitated for a while before speaking. I have her medical records, but she is far away in 3 countries. Her name is Michelle Banks, 33 years old, from New York. She must have medical records in New York hospital. You can retrieve them directly. Okay, Adam told Lexi who came over. Go and retrieve Michelle Banks' medical records immediately. Yes, Lexi responded and left. What is her recent schedule? Adam asked while pushing the trolley out. We met in England 3 days ago. Seeing that Adam didn't seem to be joking, Rajesh's father didn't care about the embarrassment and could only tell the truth. She didn't have any symptoms of discomfort. I feel very comfortable, the weak Michelle said charmingly. Very comfortable. Rajesh's father couldn't help but show a slight arc at the corner of his mouth. Adam understood. For an old man with completely white hair, Michelle's statement obviously made him very proud. And 3 days ago was clearly Valentine's Day. This is very telling. Adam looked at Michelle behind Rajesh's father, meaning, true or false? Michelle gave a subtle look back. Adam understood at once. Obviously she was a little exaggerated, but the basic content was correct. That is, although she was not very comfortable, she didn't have any uncomfortable symptoms until the concert site collapsed and she was injured. How many days did you stay in England? Adam suppressed the gossip in his heart and continued to ask seriously. 2 days. Rajesh's father immediately replied. Then we flew to New York. Does it matter? Have you taken her to eat anything special? Adam did not answer, and continued to ask, for example, specialties brought from the 3 kingdoms, or special dishes from England? This is true. Michelle suddenly realized. At that time, V said that he would make me a pure 3 kingdoms specialty dish, so that I could recall the sweetness and happiness when I traveled to the 3 kingdoms in the past. Dr. Kuspari, did you make that dish yourself? Adam was surprised. Have you ever cooked before? No, Rajesh's father said embarrassedly. I never cook. This dish, I asked someone to make it. Michelle immediately grumbled, but she was not angry. Obviously, this was expected. Dr. Duncan, what disease do you suspect Michelle has? Rajesh's father couldn't stand it anymore and asked. I suspect she ate something unclean and was infected with some parasites. Adam said his guess. Parasite? Rajesh's father and Michelle were both shocked. Michelle's face was even paler. Yeah. Adam glanced at Rajesh's father. Occasionally, if you go to a foreign place and eat local food, you will have problems with acclimatization. If the local food is not clean, then there will be a lot of problems. So when you are abroad, It's okay to want to try local delicacies, but you must pay attention to cleanliness and hygiene. And the eating habits of different parts of the world are completely different. Diseases enter the body through the mouth. There are many such cases. Believe me, as long as you have read these cases, you will not think about eating foreign delicacies every day. If it is found out later that it was the problem of the Three Kingdoms special meal, I swear I will kill him. Rajesh's father gritted his teeth. Dr. Duncan. At this time, Lexi came over with a medical record book, looked at Rajesh's father with a strange look, and handed the medical record book to Adam. This is Mrs. Banks' medical record. Chapter 958 Rajesh's sorrow. Medical center. Rajesh's father, who was gritting his teeth, froze in an instant after hearing what Lexi said, and glanced at Adam and Lexi awkwardly. Mrs. Banks said it all. Adam was wrong, and Rajesh's father was right. Michelle was indeed not Rajesh's father's girlfriend. She was the wife of a certain Mr. Banks. Dr. Kuspari was worthy of being the Howard Stark of the Three Kingdoms. He was so slutty that he could introduce his girlfriend's sister to his son after the divorce. Adam was very professional. He took the medical record with a normal look, glanced at it, and knew what was going on. Then he took Lexi to do various examinations for Mrs. Banks. Look, Adam pointed to the court scan of the brain and said, there are abnormal cysts here, a total of 8, entangled and blocked the third ventricle, making it difficult to operate. What should we do? Rajesh's father said nervously. If the operation is not performed as soon as possible, these neurocysts will multiply rapidly, and Michelle will die, right? Yes. Adam nodded, glanced at him, and reminded him, I have asked Dr. Gray to notify Mr. Banks, and he is on his way. Rajesh's father was immediately embarrassed. Then I won't stay here. Can Dr. Duncan notify me if there is any news? You can call Mrs. Banks. Adam did not agree. He would not make it easy for Rajesh's father in this regard. Dr. Duncan, you have a way, right? Rajesh's father walked to the door and asked. Yes. Adam smiled and said, although the operation is difficult, it is not completely impossible. It's just that the risk is very high and the family members need to sign. When Rajesh's father heard about the family members, he immediately smiled unnaturally at Adam and turned away. He knew Adam a long time ago. At that time, Adam was just a fledgling writer. He wrote a book called The Lord of Mysteries, which was read crazily by his son Rajesh. His son Rajesh once wanted to invite Adam to the Three Kingdoms to write for him, but he was dissuaded by Rajesh's father. The Kuspli family is one of the best in the Three Kingdoms. Due to historical reasons, it has a good influence in England. Whether it is him, his wife, or even his son and daughter, they all went to school in England, either Oxford or Cambridge. But England is no longer the world's #1, and as a big family that was once the Pearl of England, its influence is getting smaller and smaller, especially for the world's #1 superpower today. So even though Adam was just a writer at the time, as cautious as he was, he interrupted his son's bold idea at the first time, and popularized the common sense that the descendants of the big family must master in advance. But he never expected that he would go too far. The son, who has been timid since childhood, was frightened and became ill after hearing what he said. Scientific name, selective mutism. The most hateful thing is that I don't know if I scared him into going in. His son is so cool, but the symptom of selective mutism is that he can't communicate normally with women outside the family. This is really weird. The offspring of a big family should be romantic and cool, but now he can't communicate with women. Now in Cambridge, it is rumored that his son is a hidden fencing enthusiast. This is nothing in England, but it is very popular. But when the news came back to his country, he lost face. The upper class of the three countries are all teasing him. They say that his son is more likely to enter the upper class of England than him, and has a bright future in the future. It's a pity that their daughter is not lucky enough to marry into the Kuspli family. He is already thinking that when Dr. Rajesh graduates, he will send him to the United States immediately. This son is useless in England and the three countries unless he becomes a professional fencer. Seeing that his son's various hobbies are becoming more and more feminine, this path is indeed possible. But he is a very traditional person and can't accept this. Besides, Their family also needs someone to enter the United States to expand their influence. Sending Rajesh there was also a way to make use of the waste. He felt that his son Rajesh could still be saved. The golden delicacy of the United States was still very attractive. He had a lot of say in this. Of course, even if he failed in the end, it didn't matter. He had many sons anyway. There was no shortage of Rajesh. At that time, letting his son Rajesh focus on the academic route and become an authority in astrophysics and a cosmic fencer was also an option that might not be unacceptable in desperation. As a writer, Adam, who was a link in this incident, Rajesh's father also knew that he was not aware of it. He also knew that his son Rajesh liked the Lord of Mysteries very much. In normal times, he would be very happy to help his son get Adam's autograph, but in this situation now, he thought about it and decided not to meddle in other people's business. Memory is the root of pain. It is a blessing for everyone to not remember these messy things. His son Rajesh is a doctor of astrophysics and a physics major at California Institute of Technology, which has been ranked first in the world for many years. At that time, let his son Rajesh go to Pasadena, California. That is the West Coast, and it is thousands of kilometers away from New York on the East Coast. Presumably, his son Rajesh will not be so bored to run to New York to ask for an autograph from a writer he once liked. His romantic affairs should not be exposed. He and his wife are a strong combination. His wife's family is also very powerful. Once the news is exposed, he will be in trouble. Oh, if I had known earlier, I would have just fallen in love freely. It is a real free love, not the kind of free love that he actively pursues his wife with the clear instructions and help of both parents. Find a wife who is a little weaker, understands human feelings, and knows the overall situation, then he will be much more relaxed. Now, Rajesh's father left in a hurry. Mr. Banks rushed over in a panic. He was still at work. He didn't expect that his wife, who was on a business trip, was suddenly hospitalized and in a critical condition. It was really a bolt from the blue. This is the situation. Adam was very professional and only introduced the condition. I will create some space in the skull, then put the endoscope in, deflate each cyst, and then use the endoscope to remove them one by one. What if these cysts are broken? Mr. Banks was worried. I will clamp them with forceps, then lift them up, drag them to the mouth, and then suck out the liquid, and try to ensure that the cysts are not broken, Adam introduced. But yes, there is a big risk of this operation. Once broken, the neurocysts inside will wander around Mrs. Banks' body, and the situation will be very serious. Is there no other way? Mr. Banks asked. This is the most ingenious solution that Dr. Duncan has come up with. Lexi couldn't help but remind him, if it were another doctor, they would be completely helpless with this kind of entangled cysts. Okay, Mr. Banks also knew Adam's reputation and chose to believe Adam, but then he complained, how did this neurocyst get into my wife's brain? You'll have to ask your wife about that. Adam smiled at the couple and said, Gray, help Mrs. Banks with the preoperative preparations. We'll go into the operating room as soon as possible. These neurocysts reproduce very quickly and can't be delayed. There are no impenetrable walls in the hospital. Adam didn't need to remind him deliberately. As long as Mr. Banks stayed in the hospital for a while, he would probably hear gossip about him. He would decide what to do at that time. Chapter 959. I don't believe it. He is so peaceful. Medical Center. The operation was carried out quickly. Anyone who knew that there were already 8 worm babies in the brain, and they were still multiplying rapidly, would have their scalp numb. The operation must be performed. It must be performed immediately, otherwise, the cyst may not even have time to multiply again, and the cyst will rupture and the cyst will swim out, which will directly cause death. Mrs. Banks's stomach was obviously not used to the specialties of the 3 kingdoms. Operating room. Scalpel. Adam stretched out his hand. The nurse handed the scalpel to Adam. The operation officially began. Lexi was the assistant. Okay. Entering the 3rd ventricle. Adam held the endoscope in his hand, staring at the monitor in front of him, and talked about the progress, so that Lexi, the nurses, and the anesthesiologists could understand the situation at the same time. Once something happened, as a member of the team, They could know what was going on and respond to Adam's instructions at the first time. "Fix cyst number 1, Adam said, and stretched out the forceps from the endoscope and gently clamped the water ball-shaped cyst ball formed by the bubble. The cyst ball trembled, shaking Lexi and the other nurses. Such a fragile look is really scary, especially for those who know the consequences of rupture. They now seem to understand the root cause of those men's superficial and hateful eyes. Some tremors are really eye-catching. Adam is very calm. What is micromanagement? This is it. And even if it ruptures, it is no big deal for him who has bullet time. At the moment of rupture, he can find it, and then before the neurocystos can move away, he will be clamped and taken out of Mrs. Banks's brain. Skilled people are bold. There is nothing to be nervous about. But Adam did not explain it to Lexi and the others. This is a good opportunity to exercise their mentality. Without repeated nervousness and operating under extreme pressure, how can Lexi and the others grow up quickly and perform difficult operations independently in the future? Nervousness will not disappear forever with the improvement of technology. Instead, it will always accompany doctors. Famous doctors like Dr. Shept will also be nervous when they encounter difficult major operations. There are even cases where the nerves are too tense and vomit on the spot after a long time. Therefore, if you don't have a big heart and a healthy body, if you want to be a surgeon, the first person to fall down is probably not the patient, but the doctor who has been standing there. Deflate. Adam explained while operating. With his movements, the round curve of the cyst gas was quickly suppressed, and the size was enough to pass through the third ventricle, and was carried out of Mrs. Banks' brain by Adam. "Gray," Adam called. Lexi immediately took the tweezers in one hand and the glassware in the other hand, and clamped the tiny suppressed cyst on the endoscope and placed it in the glassware. "How is the cyst?" Adam asked while putting the endoscope back into Mrs. Banks' brain. "The neurocystis is here." Lexi used tweezers to cut the cyst, and a thin neurocystis immediately drilled out and swam quickly in the liquid in the glassware. Although it was a bit disgusting, especially when I thought that this thin little thing just now might be swimming around in the brain, and there were 7 more in Mrs. Banks' brain, so Lexi looked disgusted, but she breathed a sigh of relief when she saw the little thing swimming, because this meant that one of the 8 bombs had been successfully defused. "One more." Adam smiled and performed the operation again. One cyst after another was taken out. "Dr. Gray, how many are there?" Adam asked with a smile. 7. Lexi remembered it clearly. But when she heard Adam's question, she still looked down at the neurocysts swimming around in the glass container, counted them carefully, and then replied, "There is only one left." "The last one." Adam stretched out the forceps, but as soon as he clamped and lifted it, he felt something was wrong. The bottom of the cyst was tinily attached. With a slight lift, it trembled and the bottom did not move at all. "Pay attention," Adam reminded him and slightly increased the force. However, the bottom of the cyst ball had too much suction force, and this time, it still did not move, but it caused the cyst ball to rupture. "Ah!" Lexi exclaimed. Adam had already turned the forceps and quickly clamped the neurocystis that was trying to swim downstream, and decisively took out the brain. "Beep, beep." Mrs. Banks responded immediately. First, the monitor sounded an alarm, and then it quickly calmed down. "Huh." When Adam put the neurocystis into the glass container, Lexi breathed a sigh of relief. The neurocystis is soft and can be easily broken with forceps. Then it will split into 2, which will be really dangerous, and then the patient's body will react and the heart may stop. While continuing to hunt the neurocystis, she also has to perform cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Lexi couldn't stand the tension just thinking about it. Fortunately, everything is going well now. The operation ended successfully. On behalf of Adam, Lexi went to see Mr. Banks and told him the operation process. Looking at Mr. Banks, who looked caring for his wife, she wanted to say something but stopped. In the end, she finally held back, sighed in her heart, forced a smile to Banks, and turned away. This kind of thing is not the first time, and it will definitely not be the last time. Being a doctor in a hospital, you will see all kinds of joys and sorrows, and all kinds of strange things. If you can't help it, it will be easily flushed away. Toilet. Mr. Banks was doubly happy about his wife's successful operation and his own smooth excretion, just as he remembered it. He heard the conversation outside. "Have you heard? Dr. Duncan performed an operation today. A woman had parasites in her brain because she ate unclean things. It's very dangerous." "Yeah, so scary. You must pay attention to the local diet when you go abroad in the future. Don't eat anything careless." "That's right. It's so scary to think that parasites will enter your brain because of eating unclean things." "Where did she eat?" "I heard that it was a special dish of the Three Kingdoms. Her husband took her there on Valentine's Day. It tasted like home." "Is she from the Three Kingdoms?" "No, her husband is from the Three Kingdoms." "That's not right. I saw it before. Her husband is obviously American." "Haha, don't you understand this? The man from the Three Kingdoms who came with her first was her boyfriend, and the one who came later to sign for the operation was her husband." "Oh, so that's how it is." Mr. Banks, who was squatting in the toilet, wanted to get up and join the discussion outside at first to praise Adam's superb medical skills, but the explosive news he heard afterwards made him stunned. Then he became more and more angry. He waited for the gossip outside to leave before he reacted and wanted to get up and ask. But as soon as he stood up, he sat down again, thinking of the sweetness of his honeymoon trip to the Three Kingdoms that he and his wife Sushane had talked about with the nurse, and how the people there were so peaceful. He was furious. Chapter 960. I don't really like this tune. Medical Center. VIP ward. Who is he? Mr. Banks, who was really angry, finally rushed over. "What do you mean by him?" Mrs. Banks' eyes were in a panic. "The man from the Three Kingdoms who brought you here," Mr. Banks said angrily, "during the days of Valentine's Day. You were not on a business trip at all, but cheating on me behind my back. How dare you?" "Calm down," Mrs. Banks comforted. "Don't you always advocate peace the most?" "Fuck peace. It would be fine if he didn't talk about peace, but when he talked about this, Mr. Banks was directly furious. He thought that he would praise his peace in front of others, but he didn't expect that one day, under such circumstances, his wife would advise him to be peaceful. "I fainted seeing this." Mrs. Banks didn't know if it was because the neurocysticercosis had wandered in her brain. She spoke with a little worm accent, and she closed her eyes and pretended to faint. Seeing this, the nurse immediately stepped forward to persuade her to stop. She actually wanted to watch the fun, but this was Adam's patient, who had just undergone 2 operations and needed to rest. She could only suppress her gossiping heart. Fortunately, Mr. Banks always advocated peace and his temper was not very tough. Even though he knew that his wife might be pretending, he was still a little worried. Under the persuasion of the nurse, he half-heartedly left the ward and went outside to sulk. "Thank you." Mrs. Banks opened her eyes and thanked the nurse. "Take a good rest." The nurse didn't say much, just told her, "Normal people would look sideways at people who cheated in marriage. Anyone with a little sense of values would look down on such people. Nurses are professionals, so they can only look down on them in their hearts." After Mr. Banks calmed down with yoga, he took advantage of the nurse's absence to enter the ward and chatted with his wife calmly. This time, seeing that her husband was calm enough, Mrs. Banks knew that she would say it sooner or later, so she took advantage of her illness and directly confronted her. "Is it him?" Mr. Banks was stunned, and then his face was full of anger again. "He has no medical ethics. He is your gynecologist." "That's right. When they went to the legendary peaceful country for their honeymoon, his wife accidentally got a gynecological disease, so she went to see a doctor. It was Dr. Kuspari, Rajesh's father, who treated her. It was because of this that they met." "No, I'm going to sue him." Mr. Banks couldn't calm down again. Mrs. Banks persuaded him for a while and promised that she and Rajesh's father were completely over. Mr. Banks gradually calmed down and calmed down again. There was no way. He was just talking. The other party was far away in the peaceful country, and he was obviously a rich and powerful person. How could he really dare to go to the other party? "Aren't you afraid of being forced to do something difficult, or even making it even more difficult?" He was also fooled by someone in the past. After really going there, he was scared. But the previous flattery had already spread among relatives and friends, and he couldn't change his words now, right? Otherwise, there were so many good places to spend the honeymoon, and he chose such a place. Wouldn't he be a fool? Besides, who would go there? It was a rare opportunity to go abroad, so he had only this topic to talk about. Therefore, He could only continue to brag about it. Peaceful. It must be peaceful and beautiful over there. Although the people are poor, everyone has a happy smile on their faces. Maybe he can add another sentence in the future. The greenery over there is good. Mr. Banks was extremely bitter, but he had no choice but to accept this result. After accepting it, he felt lighter all over and truly felt the state of peace. Over there, Adam finished the operation on Mrs. Banks and was stopped by a middle-aged handsome man who was elegant and easygoing. "Dr. Duncan, are you done?" "Yeah." Adam didn't like the other person's attitude, nodded, and walked past him and went over there. Dr. Duncan. The middle-aged handsome man's elegance and easygoingness almost broke down, and he shouted, "Is this how you treat patients?" "Sorry." Adam paused, looked at him, and asked seriously, "Who are you?" "I'm Florence's husband." The elegant and easygoing middle-aged handsome man raised his chin reservedly. "Oh," Adam said in surprise, "it turns out to be Mr. Jenkins. Is there anything I can help you with?" The elegant and easygoing middle-aged handsome man's face froze. Although he married Florence, he was not Mr. Jenkins, nor did he want to be Mr. Jenkins. Mr. Jenkins was his wife's first husband, a famous banker. Although his wife Florence hated this first husband very much. But even though the other party had been dead for many years, the surname Jenkins was still on her head. Because this surname represents countless wealth, he used to be an actor. After falling in love with the widowed Mrs. Jenkins at first sight, he gave up his acting career and became Mrs. Jenkins' husband and singing agent. He benefited from this surname, but he didn't like this surname at all, and he didn't like others to mention it in this way. But he is an actor after all, and a very good actor, like Uncle D.A. in The King of Comedy. He claimed that the Oscar owed him a Best Actor crown, because he is acting with his life, for decades, every moment, never shouting cut. He wanted to ask, who else? So he quickly calmed down and became gentle and easygoing again. "Dr. Duncan, Florence is still waiting for you. I hope you can help her take a look." "Please." "Mr. Jenkins, you're welcome." Adam nodded. My name is Street Claire Bayfield." The elegant and easygoing middle-aged handsome man couldn't help but correct it. "Okay, Mr. Jenkins." Adam walked into the VIP ward with a smile. "Mrs. Jenkins, I'm so sorry. There is a patient who needs emergency surgery. I heard about it." Mrs. Jenkins was not as angry as her elegant and easygoing husband. She smiled very calmly and said, "Dr. Duncan is really a blessing for patients." Adam looked at the case, checked Mrs. Jenkins, and shook his head and said, "Mrs. Jenkins, you are in the third stage of the charm poison. You need maintenance and wait for better technology to appear." "I know." Mrs. Jenkins sighed. "I have always heard of Dr. Duncan's name, so Claire thought of asking you to help me. Maybe there will be a miracle." "Sorry." Adam shook his head. "I'm just a surgeon." "Dr. Duncan, do you like music?" The elegant and easygoing middle-aged handsome man suddenly said. "I like it very much." Adam nodded. In his circle of friends, there is really no one who doesn't like music. He is no exception. If you like music, then you should know what Florence means to the music industry. The elegant and easygoing middle-aged handsome man looked at Adam. "We all know that you are not an ordinary surgeon. You are also the best scientific doctor who has developed a new cancer virus therapy. So I hope you can pay more attention." Adam's expression did not change, and he said seriously, "Actually, I don't like music that much." The middle-aged handsome man's elegance disappeared in an instant. Chapter 961 Howard and Meredith Medical Center, VIP Ward. "Don't worry about it, Dr. Duncan." Mrs. Jenkins tried to smooth things over. "Street Claire is just too concerned about my health. I know Dr. Duncan has his own research direction and it's impossible for him to switch to the research of curing aphrodisiac poison right away. It doesn't matter. I've gotten used to it over the years. You must not dislike music. Music is so wonderful. It is my lifelong pursuit." "I'm glad Mrs. Jenkins understands." Adam smiled non-committally. "I have something else to do." As he said that, he was about to leave. Mrs. Jenkins' eyes darkened. She rarely met people like Adam. She was the daughter of a wealthy family since she was a child. When she grew up, she was asked by her family to marry a banker of equal status. She once fought and escaped from her family, preparing to live a happy life with her lover. Unfortunately, Her father cut off her funds. She taught her children to play the piano to support the family, but it only lasted a few weeks before she couldn't bear it. Fortunately, her father soon softened and she went home. Soon she married the banker. She was only 18 years old that year. On her wedding night, she was infected with the aphrodisiac by her first husband, who was a playboy. It was said that he was infected by a fallen woman on a street corner. What she hated most was not the act itself, but the consequences. Her super talent for playing the piano, which had enabled her to enter the White House at the age of 8, disappeared because the aphrodisiac damaged the nerves in her left hand. She could have become Beethoven, but she could only shift her interests and hobbies to the secondary field of singing. However, talent is talent. Although she could not play the piano with her hands, she still conquered the impoverished nobles from England with her singing voice. He gave up his dream of becoming a great actor and concentrated on becoming her agent and husband. Since then, under his arrangement, she has performed dozens of performances, all of which have received rave reviews and been a great success. When people see her, they either worship her, admire her, or ask her for something. She is also happy to help her fans. For her requests, everyone always says, "Yes, Miss Florence." But Adam is completely different. At this moment, Sam Wolowitz, who was suspected to be Howard's father, walked in holding the hand of a 5 or 6-year-old child. "Look who's here." Mrs. Jenkins' eyes lit up, clapped her hands and laughed. "Josh, little cutie, come here." "Miss Florence," the child called out in a baby voice, then walked to Mrs. Jenkins and laughed with her. It can be seen that Mrs. Jenkins likes him very much. Sam Wolowitz, who was suspected to be Howard's father, looked at this scene with a face full of relief. Not surprisingly, this child named Josh should be the one who said you just need a mechanical hand, right? And was highly recognized by Howard as his half-brother. It seems that Howard's father loves him very much. This reminds Adam of Meredith inexplicably. They are both single-parent families. Their fathers are gone, and their fathers did not give them fatherly love, but they love their half-siblings very much. Howard and Meredith, in some ways, are really amazingly similar. Although they are of different genders, they are both LSPs. It's just that Meredith has the advantage of being a woman. After all, it's easy for a girl to chase a boy. It's also a jaw-dropping rare thing for someone like Sheldon's future wife Amy to lie down at a party on purpose, waiting for others or people to pick up her body and abuse her but fail to get her. Adam is very curious. If Howard didn't follow a different mother, would he also grow up to be a person with special LSP skills like Meredith? The most important thing is, if the current Mrs. Wolowitz is as domineering as Alice Gray and is less doting on him, would his growth curve be different? Maybe he can be named Doctor. Well, it's probably not. After all, Mr. Wolowitz is Howard's destiny. Becoming Dr. Wolowitz would not be the same. Cafeteria. "I heard that you rejected Mrs. Jenkins?" Christina's face was full of gossip. "So?" Adam said speechlessly. "Do you know how popular she is?" Christina smiled. "All the medical staff want to provide her with the best service. Not for her, but for the money." Adam said it all. "There are many rich people, but have you seen anyone who is as popular as her?" Christina retorted. "That's because it's the bag her maid carries with her." Adam sneered. "You don't think I don't know, do you?" "You know?" Christina's eyes immediately widened and shone. "It is said that it contains her will, and she will add to it at any time. Once she is moved, she will write the other party into her will. Is it true?" "It's true." Adam nodded. "Did you see her short pianist? He is very talented in music and wants to pursue his dream in the music industry, but he can only sing in bars." Later, he applied for Mrs. Jenkins' piano accompaniment. As a result, he found that Mrs. Jenkins was tone-deaf and her singing was completely out of tune. He didn't want to take this job at first, but seeing so many celebrities in the music industry lying with their eyes open, praising Mrs. Jenkins as a singing queen that is rare in a century. In addition, he was forced by life. He also became a member of the group pretending to be confused and accompanying the king on the parade. Later, he participated in several internal concerts organized by Mrs. Jenkins' husband and agent, and realized it amid the cheers of those audiences who really understand music. Then he became much more sincere. Mrs. Jenkins was touched by his sincerity, and before a concert, she wrote him in her will, saying that she would leave him something after her death. With her wealth, any little thing would be enough for a normal person to struggle for a lifetime. How many people can resist Mrs. Jenkins's strongest skill? Write you in the will. After seeing Sam Wolowitz, he was very interested and asked a little about it, and then he felt that money was indeed the strongest superpower. She is obviously an out-of-tune queen, but she can live like a real singing queen for decades. Reality is indeed more magical than fiction, and Howard's father, who pursued his dream in the music circle, eventually became a real artist and knew how to deal with other people's dreams with high emotional intelligence. Although Mrs. Jenkins is tone-deaf and her singing is completely out of tune, but her attitude and persistence in pursuing her dreams have infected everyone who knows her. Well, Adam doesn't count, because he has no dreams. He doesn't understand the preciousness and praise of dreams. The main reason was that he didn't like being written into someone's will, as a soul from his past life. He was a little averse to this. Whether in his past life or this life, Adam loved and valued his family. Compared to Jennifer's property, he hoped that his family would be safe and healthy. Chapter 962, Involution. Involution to the Death. Medical Center. After lunch, Adam left the restaurant and walked through the VIP ward with Christina. He heard an excited voice inside. "Thank you, Miss Florence. Thank you so much." A young nurse was very excited. "Dr. Duncan, can you do me a favor?" Mrs. Jenkins saw Adam walking by and immediately shouted, "Be a witness for me." Christina. Adam did not agree. He pushed Christina, who was gossiping and had wide eyes, inside and said, "Go over there." Then he smiled at the inside and said, "Let Dr. Yang be a witness for you." After that, he smiled and left. Just kidding. Although it was just a witness, not a guarantee or anything, but Adam didn't want to get involved at all, because if his name was written on the will, the inheritance disputes that would most likely be faced in the future might affect him. As a witness, he would also have to appear in court. In the world of American dramas, as long as you are involved with these power institutions, it is a very troublesome thing. Let me give you a very simple example. When you encounter more famous police stations such as NYPD, it is very likely that the magazine will be emptied for no reason. When you go to court, you have to take an oath first and be responsible for every word you say. Otherwise, you will violate the law. As we all know, the law in the world of American TV series, high emotional intelligence means that there is room for interpretation. Low emotional intelligence means that it is completely the plasticine of lawyers and judges, and they can be molded into the shape they want at will. Therefore, just like encountering the police, you must stay away from them and never get close if you can. Adam would be stupid to be her witness. Christina has no such concerns at all, because no one would deliberately use such a troublesome way to calculate her. And anyway, she is also happy to participate in person. Then Adam will satisfy her gossip and see what charm Mrs. Jenkins has that can conquer so many people. VIP ward. "Jenny, can you give me my briefcase?" "Thank you." Mrs. Jenkins was a little disappointed, but still said to her personal female assistant. The female assistant handed her the briefcase. Under the burning eyes of everyone, she opened the briefcase, took out a stack of wills from it, and then turned to the back, found a page of wills that had not been written, and skillfully wrote a line of words on it. "Cindy, I want to leave something for you." "Thank you, thank you." Nurse Cindy was so moved that she could hardly breathe. "Dr. Yang, please sign here and be a witness." Mrs. Jenkins covered the contents of the will and motioned Christina to sign below. "Can I see the contents?" Christina gossiped. Dr. Yang, her elegant and easygoing handsome husband, looked at her with dissatisfaction. "Sorry." Christina smiled. "I'm not prying into privacy, but I'm asked to sign as a witness. I can't not know the contents, right? I'm a doctor, and it's my instinct to have clear responsibilities." "Okay." Mrs. Jenkins was already used to being ignored by others. She took her hand away and glanced at Christina. "Is it okay?" "Of course." Christina smiled and signed her name. Seeing that Adam would not serve her anymore, Mrs. Jenkins and her group left the hospital quickly. "It's great to be rich." Christina looked at Adam and sighed. "You will be rich in the future." Adam smiled. "It's different." Christina shook her head. "No matter how good a doctor is, She can't be like Mrs. Jenkins. With such a large stack of wills, she would write down whoever can please her, and live in the illusion of happiness all her life. You think she's a little stupid, right? Adam glanced at her. Not stupid. Christina shook her head and said, but she doesn't look very smart. It's actually very dangerous for her to do this. These wills will be fulfilled after her death. If she continues to live, then as more and more people are listed in the will, there will always be a few people who don't want to wait. And there is also her husband. If his wife keeps giving the inheritance to others, won't he get less and less by then? You're wrong. Adam smiled and said, with such a background, how can she be a fool if she can still live until now? Do you believe that her husband, who is a ruined nobleman, actor, and agent, who is like a licking dog, is not written in the will at all? Impossible. Christina was stunned. He's an actor, Adam reminded. He's more than 10 years younger than his wife, and his wife has aphrodisiacs, so they can't have sex. What is he after? True love? Do you believe it? If he didn't have the right to inherit the property, do you think he would serve his wife every day for decades and create a beautiful fantasy for her? Don't test human nature. I don't think Mrs. Jenkins will test it. So she has lived safely and happily for decades. What kind of husband is he? Christina said speechlessly. Isn't he just a butler? That's right. Adam smiled. So I thought he was a butler at first sight. Now it seems that he is just a senior butler who is favored by the hostess. He thought he was an actor who never needed to be called. But he didn't know that Mrs. Jenkins was probably confused on the outside, but she was smart inside and pretending to be confused. She was attracted by his handsomeness and ability, and used his ambition and pride in his acting skills to successfully circle a handsome dog, and spent the rest of her life immersed in romance and happiness. All she needs to pay is to sprinkle some dog food-like options every few years, and then continue for a few more years, repeating it over and over again, so that her husband always has something to look forward to. But at the same time, it can prevent him from wanting to harm her. The world of rich people is so complicated. Christina sighed. This is just the beginning. Adam shook his head. As he was talking, a figure walked over here. Adam. Mr. Waller. Adam greeted him in surprise. Why are you here? Does Leonard know? SHH. Rachel's grandfather motioned Adam to be quiet, looked around, and whispered, I have something to talk to you about. Don't tell anyone, especially Leonard and Rachel. Okay. Adam smiled and said, tell me. Rachel's grandfather hesitated and seemed to find it difficult to speak. Mr. Waller, this is a hospital and I'm a doctor. Adam guessed that maybe there was some unspeakable secret, and couldn't help but comfort him. As long as it's a medical issue, we are all professionals. There is nothing wrong to say. Okay then. Rachel's grandfather glanced at Adam, and seeing that Adam had no intention of making fun of him, he whispered, I want you to introduce me to Dr. Mark Sloan. After hearing Rachel's grandfather's request, Adam's mouth twitched, and all he could think of involution was, everyone talks about involution. Involution. Is sunset romance also like this now? This is too exaggerated. Chapter 963, The Shivering Young Man at the Medical Center. Mr. Waller, come here and talk. After listening to Rachel's grandfather's words, Adam felt that he really needed to talk slowly in private. The internal market of this sunset love made his scalp numb. Adam, I live in a nursing home, and there is a new person in the east building. After coming to a ward and closing the door, Rachel's grandfather explained to Adam, she is a young woman, and I don't want to disappoint her. Young? Adam grinned. How young? While saying this, he kept praying in his heart, don't be younger than Rachel, don't be younger than Rachel, don't be younger than Rachel. Those who can enter the nursing home will naturally not be younger than Rachel, but it is possible that Rachel's grandfather is not interested in the elderly, but the new female staff. It's not what you think. Rachel's grandfather rolled his eyes at Adam. She is 82 this year. Oh. Adam immediately breathed a sigh of relief, and then asked in surprise, Mr. Waller, if I remember correctly, you are also 82 this year? Yes. Rachel's grandfather smiled and said, we are the same age, but she has taken very good care of herself, and feels like a young woman in her 70s. Really? Adam couldn't help but laugh. For an 82-year-old man, An old lady who looks like she is in her 70s is indeed considered young. Of course, Rachel's grandfather became excited when he talked about his sweetheart. She not only looks young, but her whole mental state is also very young and energetic. As soon as she went there, all the old men in the nursing home were excited, and they all wanted to pursue her. Adam, you can understand it, right? I can understand. Adam nodded, but still said with embarrassment, but Mr. Waller, can we compete fairly? You are trying too hard to win her heart. You are trying your best to attack her from a dimensionality reduction perspective. For love, isn't it worth it? Rachel's grandfather raised his eyebrows. Adam hesitated. Generally, in such cases, we prescribe medicine first. No, Rachel's grandfather immediately shook his head. I have taken medicine for several years, but it never worked. Later, my wife died, and I gave up until she appeared. I want to get her. I want to make her happy. I understand. Adam comforted, but this is a surgical operation. Considering your age. Damn age. Rachel's grandfather excitedly said, every time I talk about it, it's because my age doesn't allow it. So I came to you, Adam. I know Dr. Mark Sloan is the best plastic surgeon. I need you to help me arrange it. I want M700. I want to be a man again. Retired days, just watching TV and playing bridge every day. It's boring. Can't old men have love? Can't old men be excited? Adam, can you help me? Although Rachel's grandfather is in good condition, he can't be called a rich old man. He belongs to the kind of person who is neither up nor down. Otherwise, there would be no such distress. You know, some awesome people like these rich old men the most. Adam could only say, Mr. Waller, I can help you, but the premise is to give you a comprehensive physical examination first to see if your body is suitable. Then Sandra, Leonard and Rachel must know and agree, otherwise I can only say sorry. M700, gold implant. Rachel's grandfather is really always wanting to attack those old rivals. Adam has always known that sunset love has involution. Phoebe's grandmother who passed away a few years ago is a vivid example. At the beginning, her grandmother had a partner, and both of them had poor hearing, but in order to ensure that the other party was satisfied and not to fall in love with someone else, when the two were intimate, they kept asking each other satisfied or not, and if they couldn't hear a satisfactory result, they kept messing around. As a result, Phoebe next door couldn't sleep well all night. A glimpse of the whole leopard. Originally, Adam thought he understood the involution of sunset love, but now Rachel's grandfather gave him a vivid lesson. Your grandpa is always your grandpa. What's baldness? What's sudden death? Learn about M700, young people, for love. Do you dare to risk your brother's life? Once Rachel's grandpa succeeds, it will be like a Terminator to those old rivals in the nursing home, or suddenly mutate the X gene and become a steel man. It is a completely unethical dimensionality reduction attack. By then, Rachel's grandpa will definitely be the most handsome guy in the nursing home, the dream lover in the eyes of the old ladies. But once he fails, even if he doesn't die, it will be very difficult. After all, the part where the operation is performed is too unfriendly. Okay. Rachel's grandpa, seeing that there is a way, said confidently, I believe in my body. As long as I am given a chance, I will definitely be able to stand up again. Mary, you must be mine. Adam was speechless. Old child. Rachel's grandpa has returned to the second year of middle school. This second year passionate lines and this focus are completely fine. In fact, he did not agree with Rachel's grandfather's inward-looking attitude. After all, the risk is really great. At his age, it is not a big problem to talk about love instead of sex, but seeing that Rachel's grandfather was so hot-blooded, he was afraid that he would run to other hospitals on impulse. If the other party did the operation for him regardless of the high medical expenses, it would be better to let him stay in the medical center. Mark Sloan, after all, is still very respectable in this kind of operation. The last time does not count, because the doctor did not treat himself. Besides, there is Adam to support him and provide timely rescue. After all, he is Rachel's grandfather. Adam asked him to do a comprehensive physical examination first, and he also wanted the results of the physical examination to dispel his impulsive thoughts. But the result surprised him. This physical fitness does not look like an 82-year-old man at all. He is quite healthy. It fully meets the requirements for AM700 surgery. In the eyes of Rachel's grandfather, Adam called Leonard, Sandra and Rachel to tell them the shocking news. "What? You must be kidding. Adam, you are getting more and more interesting. Tell me, this is not true?" Adam handed the phone directly to Rachel's grandfather, asking him to tell his daughter, granddaughter and ex-son-in-law in person about this embarrassing news. Leonard was in the hospital and came quickly. "Are you kidding me?" Leonard said angrily. "You are so old, and you still want to do this kind of operation? Do you want Rachel and others to be unable to hold their heads up?" "Who made Rachel and others unable to hold their heads up?" Rachel's grandfather said leisurely. "Is it me, a grandfather who is 82 years old and still has the courage to pursue happiness, or you, a waste who can't give happiness to your wife at the age of 52 and divorced your wife?" "You." Leonard was immediately furious. "What do you mean by I?" Rachel's grandfather said disdainfully. "Tell me, you are only 52 years old. How long has it been since you lived a happy life? Or, how long has it been since you thought about those things?" "Leonard, if you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 964 Jigsaw originated from the medical center. Adam was afraid that Rachel's grandfather, who was full of enthusiasm and high morale, would be too sharp and make Leonard angry, so he hurried forward to smooth things over. "Do whatever you want, I don't care about you." Leonard left with a word. "Thank you." Rachel's grandfather mocked from behind. "Wait, who are you? You divorced my daughter, you have no right to care about my affairs." "Mr. Waller." Adam frowned. "Leonard is not in good health." "Don't say that, we are all family." "Okay." Rachel's grandfather was also a smart man. He noticed Adam's displeasure and immediately put away his sarcasm and smiled. "Adam, you are right, we are all family. Leonard also means well, but I am a little angry that he divorced Sandra." He knew that the relationship between his family and Adam, in addition to Rachel, was most importantly Leonard's help to Adam. Now he needs Adam again. Naturally he doesn't want Adam to have any opinions about him. Adam nodded, explained a few more words, and went to comfort Leonard. The news was so explosive that Rachel's grandfather's two daughters came quickly, and so did Rachel. One by one, they awkwardly tried to persuade their father and grandfather who were ambitious in their old age. "Adam, what is the operation like?" Rachel was open-minded after all, and she was a generation apart. Seeing that she couldn't persuade him, she became concerned about the specific operation process. Rachel's grandfather looked at Rachel lovingly and looked at Adam eagerly. Although he had inquired about AM700 in advance, he didn't know the specific process. "The operation is..." Adam looked at Rachel, her mother, and her aunt, feeling a little embarrassed, but he immediately switched to a professional attitude and looked at Rachel's grandfather. "Fill your engine with silicone, and when happiness comes, the pump will be squeezed." Rachel's mother and the others all held their foreheads, but they also pricked up their ears to listen. "Where should the pump be placed?" Rachel's grandfather asked. "In your silver wolf," Adam answered the professional question. "So as long as the pump works well, I can." Rachel's grandfather was very excited. "Dad, this is ridiculous." Rachel's mother Sandra couldn't help it and interrupted. "You are 82 years old." "So?" Rachel's grandfather said. "I can't live a happy life anymore?" "No," Sandra advised. "This is a major operation. They will cut you." "Dad, they will cut you. You will bleed and even die." "Dad, for that, would you rather die?" "Of course I would." Rachel's grandfather: "I am 82 years old. How many years can I live? Instead of watching TV and playing bridge every day, I would rather die here. At least it adds a touch of color to my life." Seeing that his daughter Sandra wanted to persuade him again, he interrupted directly. "Do you really want to persuade me? When you divorced Leonard, I didn't oppose you like you do now, nor did I persuade you to continue to endure. How can it be the same?" Rachel's mother smiled bitterly. You didn't like Leonard in the first place. You said he had a bad temper and you couldn't wait for us to divorce. That's also support, Rachel's grandfather said confidently. Remember this, Dad. Rachel's aunt stepped forward to take over the topic. I'm sure that this kind of surgery will not be reimbursed by medical insurance. At this point, she looked at Adam. Really? Yeah, Adam nodded. No matter what kind of medical insurance you have, it will not cover this kind of surgery. Okay. In fact, it can be said that the medical insurance in the American TV world will not reimburse most of the time. Usually, we work hard to pay for the increasingly expensive medical insurance when we really need to use medical insurance, not to mention that the coverage of medical insurance is getting narrower and narrower. Even if it is covered, those medical insurance companies have hired special actuaries to use formulas to calculate whether to pay medical expenses for people who should enjoy medical insurance. The key is the success rate of the operation and whether they can work normally after the operation, whether AKA can continue to make money to pay for medical insurance and earn back the surgical expenses paid by the medical insurance company. If not, then I'm sorry. Medical insurance companies in the American TV world have various legitimate reasons to refuse to pay, leaving you and your family desperate. The classic case is the legendary Jigsaw. He got cancer and there was originally a cutting-edge medical project that might save him, but the actuary of the medical insurance company who was his friend cruelly rejected him. The actuarial formula he designed deprived Jigsaw of his hope of seeking medical treatment, and indirectly deprived Jigsaw of his right to life. In the end, Jigsaw played a game with him. Let this actuary walk out of a series of cold numbers in the office and face real cases of life and death because of his formulas and choices. See if he can still downplay it as he did before. In the end, his right to survive was handed over to the family of the patient who had been deprived of his right to life by him. In the American TV series, the right to life covered by medical insurance is so bad, not to mention paying such a large sum of money for the 82-year-old man's whimsical improvement of his quality of life. Dad, did you hear that? Rachel's aunt shouted. Medical insurance doesn't support it, and I know you won't use your savings, because you will help Jenny pay for college tuition, right? Jenny is her daughter and Rachel's little cousin. Sweetheart, I love Jenny. Rachel's grandfather couldn't help laughing. But can we stop assuming that she will go to college? She is beautiful, but her brain is not as smart as Rachel's, let alone Jill's. Aunt Rachel. Rachel, what happened to the pride of the family? Now that Jill hasn't even gone to Harvard Law School, she is ranked below Jill by her grandfather! Dad. Aunt Rachel shouted unhappily. Stop talking. Rachel's grandfather was angry. This is my money. I can spend it however I want. Your mother and I have saved money for a lifetime, and she always said it was life-saving money, but she didn't spend a penny and went away. I think your mother will be very happy that I finally started to treat myself well, because now Mary is my life. I need this money to save my life, Mom. Aunt. Seeing this, Rachel advised, otherwise, let Grandpa have the operation. He has the right to pursue his happiness, and we should bless him. Thank you, Rachel. Rachel's grandfather looked at his eldest granddaughter gratefully. After all, she is the first grandchild in the family, so she is closer to him as a grandfather. You don't understand. Seeing that his two daughters were still unhappy, Rachel's grandfather turned to a gentle root. One day, when you wake up, you will find that all the major events in life, graduation, marriage, childbirth, and grandchildren are all gone. Everything is over. All you have are memories of the past. The days ahead are few and far between. In the 20 years after your mother died, I never thought about other women, let alone this. But one night, when I saw Mary, my heart, which had been dead for 20 years, began to beat again. You are not young anymore. You are about to get old, and you will soon encounter my problems. Ask yourself, when you are moved again and want to work hard to pursue happiness, your children not only do not understand you, but oppose you all the time. It's either for face or for money. After opposing, they took the face and money and left, leaving you alone in a nursing home, lonely for the rest of your life. Do you want this kind of old age life? Chapter 965, The Infinite Charm of House. Adam served the medical center. Rachel's grandpa used both soft and hard tactics, and Rachel's mother and others were helpless. They still disagreed in their hearts, but it was difficult to say anything, otherwise, it was for face or money, not for the life and death of their father. Adam was silent on the side. He would not get involved in such things, because it is easy to be unpopular. There are too many such things. It is not even a phenomenon unique to the world of American dramas. In his previous life, Adam heard his boss talk about the war between his old man and them. When he got old, he wanted to find a partner. But he was always opposed by the children in the family, because the children thought that those partners were after the old man's money. The old man was a high-ranking civil servant with a retirement salary of more than 10,000 yuan. It was more than 10,000 yuan per month in the 2000s. And there was also real estate. Among the old man's many partners, there was a young nanny. The young nanny was too inexperienced and was soon driven away by the boss. But later a real partner came, and that partner was invincible, which gave the boss and his brothers and sisters a headache. Watching her father hand over her salary card and even transfer the property, she caused unrest in the family. The father and children were extremely concerned and nervous, and even said they would sever ties with her. It was similar to the current situation of Rachel's grandfather. It was just that the boss in the previous life was not willing to say those things. In the end, Rachel's mother and the others compromised. "Carter, go find Dr. Sloan," Adam ordered. In the operating room, Mark was the main surgeon, Adam was the first assistant, and Carter was the second assistant. "Dr. Duncan, it's an honor." Mark looked at Adam standing opposite him and smiled. "It's rare to perform surgery with you, because the poor are the majority of people in this world after all." Adam smiled. "Not many people can afford such expensive improvement surgery, but we can really improve their quality of life," Mark argued. "Yeah," Adam nodded. "That's true, but it's also improving your life." Plastic surgeons are the most profitable doctors, and they rely on these expensive surgeries that are not reimbursed by medical insurance. Medical insurance does not reimburse, and it is so expensive that it often empties all the pockets of patients, and even requires loans. Plastic surgeons get such a high percentage, it would be strange if they can't make money. This is a two-way freedom. Mark smiled. "We only provide an option." Adam smiled but said nothing. Mark felt that there was something wrong with Adam's smile, but he was also someone who was advised by Adam, so he didn't continue to pursue him, but started the operation, scalpel, with Adam's assistance. The operation was successful. Adam went to tell the news to Rachel and others who were anxiously waiting outside. "Thank God." Rachel's mother and others all breathed a sigh of relief. "Who is this?" Adam looked at the extra old lady. "Let me introduce her to you." Rachel introduced quickly. "She's Grandpa's Mary." "Hello, Mary." Adam looked at the woman who rekindled the second spring of Rachel's 82-year-old grandfather, and saw that she was indeed well-maintained, and the whole person didn't look old at all. But something was wrong. "What a handsome doctor." The 82-year-old old lady Mary stared at Adam with a very energetic look. "The hospital is really a good place. This is the second charming and handsome doctor I have seen." "Dr. Duncan, do you know Dr. House?" "Dr. House?" Adam was startled and said strangely, "Of course I know him." "You know him?" Old lady Mary was even happier. "Yes, you are the same kind of people, you should know each other. Although you don't have Dr. House's sexy beard and gentle eyes, you are also very handsome." Adam's mouth twitched. "Old lady, what's the look in your eyes? How can House's messy beard be a sexy beard? And how did his malicious eyes become gentle?" "Dr. House?" Rachel also heard it, and couldn't help but interrupt. "Is it that hateful poisonous man? His eyes are so annoying, and he has no sympathy at all." "No," old lady Mary said anxiously. "Dr. House is very good. He not only cured me, but also treated me very gently." "You and him?" Rachel is also an urban man and woman, extremely sensitive to gossip. Seeing the old lady like this, her gossip spirit suddenly burned. But then she realized that this old lady was her grandfather's scheduled companion, so she said angrily, "No." "What do you mean?" "There is nothing between me and him." Old lady Mary looked shy. Adam and Rachel looked at each other, speechless. If it was just a bold guess before, now they can be sure that the old lady has different feelings for Dr. House. "Then what is my grandpa?" Rachel said angrily. Do you know how much risk he took for you? Alas. Old Lady Mary sighed first, then said frankly, "Don't get me wrong, child. I really have nothing to do with Dr. House. I have permanent brain damage. According to what Dr. House told me, the virus eroded my cerebral cortex, leaving permanent brain damage, but allowing me to retain sexual pleasure forever. This is God's gift to me, but I also know that I am too old to be in contact with young children." "What virus?" Adam asked immediately. He was very interested in this extremely rare case. "This." Old Lady Mary glanced at Rachel and the others, unable to speak. "Is there anything we can't know?" Rachel bewitched. "I thought we would be a family in the future." "Actually, there's nothing we can't say." Old Lady Mary hesitated for a moment, but decided to confess. "It's a charm poison. We used to call it Cupid's disease. Decades ago, I was infected at the graduation party, and he had a Chevrolet. Later I was cured. But Dr. House said it was not completely eliminated, but just suppressed for 60 years. Seeing that Rachel's mother and aunt were all disgusted, Old Lady Mary hurriedly explained, "It's fine now. Dr. House prescribed me medicine, and I also practiced safety measures." "Stop, stop, stop," Rachel's aunt shouted. "We don't want to hear this." "Does my grandpa know?" Rachel asked the key question. "I don't know." Old Lady Mary shook her head and said, "We didn't get to that step at all. I just went to the nursing home, and I didn't know in advance that he was going to do this kind of operation." Rachel and the others were silent. They all felt that their father and grandpa were too reckless. "What's his Mary? People haven't decided to be with him yet. Now we just do the surgery. If the other person doesn't want to, then it will be just like what Wakong sang." Chapter 966, Too Hard Will Break Easily. After the storm there is the Paradise Medical Center. "Mr. Waller will take several hours to wake up," Adam reminded. "Why don't you go sit in the ward first?" After saying that, he comforted them a few more times and asked them to wait for Rachel's grandfather to wake up. He left and called Dr. House. "I'm convinced." Adam smiled and said, "This time I'm really convinced." "Which patient of mine did you meet again?" Dr. House was very smart and guessed what happened as soon as he heard it. "Of course it's the 82-year-old lady who has a crush on you." Adam laughed. Your charming beard and gentle eyes directly aroused the second spring of an 82-year-old lady. With this kind of charm, what else can I say except being convinced? It turned out to be her. Dr. House suddenly realized, with a smile on his face. What's wrong with her? She wouldn't follow you after seeing you, would she? She doesn't like me, Adam teased. People like you are her favorite. She gets anxious when we say something bad about you. This is not my charm. Dr. House didn't care about Adam's teasing at all, and said indifferently, this is the charm of viruses and the mysteries of the human body. Before I met her, I never thought there would be such a thing. She is such a lucky person. Adam sighed. Now her alternative vitality with brain damage makes her full of energy. She is simply the favorite of old men. Do you remember Rachel? Of course I remember, Dr. House said venomously. If you don't remember, and she hears about it, she'll probably say, I'm so beautiful, you've seen me, but you don't remember me, and then she'll keep nagging me for the rest of her life. Haha. Adam couldn't help but laugh out loud. Don't worry, she'll remember you for the rest of her life. Now when people talk about venomous men, you're their synonym. This statement was in response to Rachel saying that Ross went to the bar to hang out right after they broke up, and Ross said that they had already broken up at that time. But Rachel disagreed, and regarded this as cheating, and was ready to remember Ross for the rest of her life. Now, they are married and have daughters, and they still quarrel about this issue from time to time. Every time, Ross would blush and shout, we were on a break. Tell her for me. Dr. House was still sarcastic. We really ended a long time ago. Hee. Adam smiled and said, Rachel's grandfather fell in love at first sight after seeing the old lady who admired you. In order to defeat the old rivals in the nursing home and your hidden true love, I just did damn 700. Dr. House's eyes condensed, and he said seriously, Adam, don't tell her what I said before. Oh, why? Adam asked cooperatively. What kind of grandpa? What kind of granddaughter? Dr. House complained. I don't want to provoke such a ruthless person. Haha. Adam laughed. It's a pity that you not only provoked her, but also her grandfather. You just hope that the old lady who really loves you will not use you to reject her grandfather, or she will talk about you in front of her grandfather all day long in the future. She took the risk of her life and had the operation against her family's opposition, but found that it was useless. Rachel's grandfather, who had regained his strength and became a middle school student, had to go to Dr. House, the biggest rival in love, and fight to the death. If that happens, it will probably be like this. Rachel's grandfather repeatedly sang the song of Wukong and walked towards Dr. House step by step. The lame Dr. House could only retreat step by step with crutches. Finally, he had no way to retreat and took up the crutches in his hand as a stick to defend himself. After chatting and laughing with Dr. House for a while, he hung up the phone. Fortunately, he is 82 years old after all. Although one stood up and the other had permanent brain damage, it brought a strange and permanent euphoria. But the dramatic scene that everyone was worried about did not happen. When Rachel's grandfather woke up, he successfully embraced the goddess old lady. At this age, they don't have the wealth to play with vibranium steel wool or other balls, so there are not many options. Rachel's grandfather is also a good match for the goddess Mary of the old men. It's just that Rachel's grandfather is a little green. Because Adam and Dr. House had a detailed chat before, they also had a new understanding of the old lady Mary. The old lady was like Rachel's grandfather before. Her heart was as calm as water for decades, and recently because of the virus eroding the cerebral cortex, it caused a magical return to spring. She fell in love with Dr. House at first sight. First, she wanted to undress and let him check. After being rejected, she secretly took a taxi to see Dr. House after being discharged from the hospital, just because she didn't want her son who had grandchildren to disturb her to show her love. She also made it clear that she didn't want to take medicine, and would rather die than keep this feeling forever. After Dr. House reminded her that this kind of brain damage is permanent and taking medicine is only to eliminate the poison, she smiled and said that she would come to see Dr. House for a follow-up visit later, and left with a wink. The old lady's ideas are also very open. More than 60 years ago, the American TV world was still a relatively conservative social environment. She had the same idea as today's girls: heart is heart, love is love. Otherwise, she would not have had Cupid's disease at that time. Once the old lady likes someone, in her words, "I think about him every moment." Every moment. If she can't forget Dr. House's touching beard and gentle eyes, then it is conceivable that even if she is with Rachel's grandfather, she will probably think of someone else in her mind. But Rachel's grandfather may not mind. After all, at this age, he still uses such a dangerous way to express his love in courtship. I'm afraid that his heart is greater than his love. That's how it went. A few weeks later, just as Adam was about to leave for Chicago with Peggy, he accidentally learned unexpected but reasonable news. Rachel's grandpa was rushed to the hospital, but he died after failed rescue efforts. And old lady Mary was also sent there, torn apart by the hidden knife. Obviously, Rachel's grandpa, who had returned to the passionate and second-year era, had really returned to his past personality. Like a teenager, he had no self-control and felt that he could do anything, just blindly pursuing pleasure. It was a pity that his body was 82 years old after all. Even if M700 could support it, he couldn't. A gust of wind passed by and he fell directly. After all, it was his own father, so it goes without saying that he was sad. But this cause of death really embarrassed Rachel's mother and others. However, their own father was 82 years old, and he was very happy in the last period of time. The illness occurred after the event, not during the event, so he died with a smile. Therefore, Rachel's mother and others quickly accepted this fact. The funeral was held soon. Old Lady Mary was not invited. In the eyes of Rachel's mother and others, Old Lady Mary was not considered the lover of their father at all. At most, she was just a vixen who brought disaster upon herself and was the root cause of their father's early departure. The most important thing is that once the old lady is invited, it will simply remind the people attending the funeral of those embarrassing gossips. This is unacceptable to them. Chapter 967, Sheldon. After the funeral, it was time for the MacArthur Genius Award ceremony. Adam took Peggy and drove to Chicago. From New York to Chicago, The road distance is about 800 kilometers, and it takes more than 4 hours to drive. The plane is naturally faster, and it only takes more than 2 hours. But it's still a well-known reason. It's better to be steady. Besides, Adam also enjoys driving with Peggy. It's like a road trip. More than 4 hours is just a few snaps of the fingers. When the car arrived at the outskirts of Chicago and was about to get on Chicago Highway 85, Adam saw the road sign and was surprised and slowed down. There is no way. When you are in a foreign place, it is better to be low-key and steady. This Highway 85 was played by a baby as a place where ghosts appear, even if the ghost has been caught by another car god. The police force on this road is far greater than other places, and the nerves are more tense. When Adam thought of a certain car god, he couldn't help laughing. The leader of the Fast and Furious robbery gang that was caught by the other side, the bald guy, was said to have mental illness and began to have hallucinations. He was obviously in prison and was just an ordinary bald guy who couldn't even beat the street thugs before, but he fantasized that he was outside and called the wind and rain. Cars came and went, and he was an omnipotent and invincible superhero. The psychiatric doctor had a hunch that he might be able to drive his car to the sky one day. There is really everything in dreams. At the request of another Peggy, Adam helped the baby and knew more about this place. If Adam drove too fast, he would be chased and intercepted by CPD immediately. Of course, a certain baby is not afraid, and Adam's driving skills are far better than his and a certain car god, so he will naturally not be afraid, and will not be caught by CPD. But of course, he would not put himself and Peggy at risk of having their magazines emptied for a little adrenaline. And obviously, Adam's stability is necessary. D.A. 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 A burst of firecrackers sounded, as if welcoming the arrival of the two geniuses. Is it so chaotic? Peggy leaned over to look in the direction of the firecrackers. Under normal circumstances, hearing such a celebratory sound, she would be like most people in the American TV world, either running for cover or falling down and crawling for cover. But next to Adam, she didn't have this concern. So, she did the opposite. This is publicity. Adam straightened his clothes and smiled. The Chicago typewriter is well deserved. I came to ask where Sheldon is. Peggy looked into the distance for a few times, didn't see any movement, so she retracted her gaze, took out her mobile phone and called Sheldon. It's so chaotic here. When Sheldon arrives, we will pick him up. Okay. Adam nodded. If he didn't go, with Sheldon's temper, he would probably not get off the train. That's right. Sheldon still chose the slowest train for this trip. Pasadena is 2,800 kilometers away from Chicago. It takes more than 4 hours to fly by plane, and 43 hours to get there by train, which is nearly 2 days. Most people would be annoyed by such a long train ride. But who makes Sheldon obsessed with trains? Not to mention staying on the train for just 2 days. Even if he stays on the train for several months, it is still a wonderful journey that he doesn't want to end, except for the train derailment accident 2 years ago, which scared Sheldon and made the timid Sheldon overwhelm the conductor Sheldon, and he developed a fear of trains and didn't want to take trains for a while. The rest of the time, trains are one of Sheldon's favorites. Sheldon, where are you? Outskirts of Chicago, 13 minutes to Chicago Union Station. Sheldon's happy voice came from the other end of the phone. Obviously, the 2-day train journey has won his heart. We'll pick you up later. Peggy glanced at Adam, indicating whether she could get there. After getting Adam's affirmative reply, she smiled at Sheldon. Okay, good. Sheldon was very satisfied. He has a mysophobia and is timid. Before coming here, he had looked up information about Chicago and was too scared to come. Later, after Adam and his mother comforted him, he agreed to come. Now, after sitting on the train for 2 whole days, he has greatly satisfied his train addiction. After getting off the train, he doesn't have to take a dirty and dangerous taxi. This is the best. What's that sound over there? At this time, the interrupted firecrackers sounded again rhythmically, and immediately came through the phone and reached Sheldon's ears, startling him. Singing. Adam smiled and said, "The song is called Chicago Welcomes You." "No," Sheldon said alertly. This is the sound of gunfire. Now I finally know why the name Chicago typewriter is circulated on the internet. It's so vivid. Damn it, it's too scary here. I want to go back to Pasadena. Shut up. Adam comforted him a few times, but seeing that it was useless, Sheldon was still chattering and shouting that he wanted to go back, so he immediately shouted. On the other end of the phone, Sheldon whimpered and quieted down, but Adam could imagine that his expression must be too aggrieved. "Stop being a baby," Adam complained. "What's the big deal about this background gunfire? We are all Texans, and the Pasadena you live in is right next to Los Angeles, which is one of the 3 largest cities along with New York and Chicago. Don't tell me this is the first day you heard this background music." "That's different," Sheldon muttered, and pointed out the problem in Adam's words with confidence. "In Texas, the shooting is very accurate. One shot. There will be no such background sound of gunfire." Adam's mouth twitched, speechless. Sheldon is really a little smart guy, and he got to the point in one sentence. "That's right. In Adam's hometown, Texas, where martial virtues are abundant, you can't hear this tense background music, because the land is vast and the population is sparse. There are many farms. Farmers prefer big guns like shotguns. There is no need to aim at all, just aim at the enemy's direction. Fire one shot, and the dense shotgun shells will directly turn the enemy into a hornet's nest. Wearing a bulletproof vest is useless. The effect of one shot is even stronger than the effect of 10 shots of the Chicago typewriter. Unless it is a large-scale police gang fight, you can't hear this continuous background music, because a shotgun generally has 8 or 9 pellets, and can have up to 14 pellets. Of course, one shot is better than 10 shots. This is the favorite gun of farmers and truck drivers. When car robbers were rampant before, truck drivers were equipped with shotguns. However, this kind of unethical gun cannot be popular in big cities such as New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago. The reason is simple. You bought a shotgun for self-defense. It is powerful, easy to operate, and has strong combat effectiveness. But if you really encounter a gangster, you shoot him with one shot, not only killing him directly, but also destroying the building behind him. Killing in self-defense may be exempted from punishment. But if you damage someone else's things, you must pay for it. Can you afford it? Most people can't afford it at all. So most people can only buy small guns that are not deterrent enough. But criminals can buy automatic large guns like Chicago typewriters without scruples. AKA even if you have the freedom to own a gun, you still can't beat the criminals. Not to mention the NYPD, LAPD, and CPD who are extremely pursuing firepower to suppress criminals. It's just to own a gun for self-defense. After all, Sheldon is the son of the Lone Star and has the soul of a Texas cowboy. Although he has never played with a gun, he saw through the fundamental reason why the background music in different regions is different at a glance. Chapter 968 Sheldon, you are so shining. Chicago, Union Station. Sheldon, where are you? Adam and Peggy were waiting outside the station, seeing that the train from Los Angeles had arrived, but Sheldon had not come out yet. They could not help but call again. "Of course he's in the station," Sheldon said cautiously. "Come out quickly, we're outside," Adam urged. "Oh, I don't think so." Sheldon shook his head like a rattle. Adam understood the reason. Because Sheldon had heard the background music of Chicago on the phone before, he was scared. Then Adam said something to comfort him a little. But in just 13 minutes, when the train entered the city, they heard 2 more passionate performances of Chicago Welcomes You. "Don't be afraid," Adam comforted. "We are the 3 heroes of Texas. Don't embarrass our hometown. Don't think about it." Texas cowboy Sheldon was held down by the timid Sheldon who turned into a giant. Sheldon still shook his head again and again, without any Texas style. "Okay," Adam sighed. "I didn't want to tell you this originally because I was afraid of scaring you, but now I have to tell you. In fact, Chicago Welcomes You is being played more frequently in Union Station." "I don't believe it," Sheldon said in a Rutgers accent. "Don't believe it?" Adam reminded seriously. "If you think about it carefully, you will know that the Union Station has a dense flow of people. There are so many people coming and going. How could there be no criminals who want to get a piece of the pie? They are all experienced veterans who are good at finding fat sheep. And who is the fat sheep, who is fatter than someone who is about to receive the MacArthur Genius Award? The key is that this fat sheep has no defense, and sending a little girl with bare hands to rob can easily succeed. In this case, do you think it is safer to stay in the Union Station all the time, or to come out and join us, the real light of Texas? You are a real genius. I believe you will make the right choice. At this point, Adam smiled silently at Peggy, adjusted his tone, and said faintly, "The longer you delay in there, the greater the chance of being targeted by these veterans. Don't think about buying a train ticket back to Pasadena immediately, because who would return the same way as soon as they arrived? That's too suspicious. Most likely, it will immediately attract the attention of the staff. You don't think those veterans, without the staff as an insider, are rampant here, right? Look around. They ... maybe, they're here. Stop. In the Union train station, Sheldon was holding a suitcase in one hand and a phone in the other, shrinking his neck, listening to Adam's eerie tone, and looking around timidly. The more he looked, the more he felt that everyone looked like the criminal veterans Adam mentioned. Whenever he met someone's eyes, his heart trembled. If the person's eyes met his whole body would tremble again and again, especially when a little girl with her mother stared at this strange big brother innocently and cutely. A few seconds of staring made Sheldon's high-definition image memory immediately recall the fear that he was dominated by the 6-year-old girl next door, Barbie Sparks. When he was 9 years old and in high school, she beat him, she stole his lunch money, she also threw tadpoles into his clothes. You know, his shirts are always tucked into his pants, so that he looks neat and capable. But instead, the tadpoles were directly guided by gravity to find their kind and arrange the passage. But at that time, several of his friends refused to help him deal with Barbie Sparks because she was only as tall as his chin. His mother said, men should not hit women, so he accepted Adam's excuse. But he was a super genius, especially good at finding loopholes in the rules, especially loopholes that were in his favor. He went to find his sister Missy and gave her all his life savings, asking her to beat up the devil Barbie as much as she wanted. Girls hitting girls, no problem, don't hold back. He also paid the price of not being able to watch the Proton Professor program for 2 months. The hateful thing was that Missy took the money but didn't do the job. In the end, he had to rely on his long legs. When he met Barbie Sparks, he ran away immediately. As long as he ran fast enough, Barbie's short legs couldn't catch up. Fortunately, he went to college at the age of 11, otherwise, the 8-year-old devil Barbie would have jumped up a lot and would be as tall as him. If he stayed there, he would not be able to outrun the demon Barbie whose legs were as long or even longer than his. But what was supposed to come finally came. Now it seems that he is facing the same situation again. When Adam's last sentence sounded in his ears, Sheldon was like a frightened rabbit. Well, no, it was a frightened mantis. He stretched out his long legs and ran towards the exit. This way. Peggy, who was standing at the entrance of the train station, waved at Sheldon who was running. Adam, Peggy, save me. Sheldon ran quickly, occasionally looking back at the little girl who was staring at him. He saw that the little girl had stood up and pointed at him, as if she was going to command her accomplices to chase him, which frightened him so much that he screamed. Adam also looked over in the direction of Sheldon's gaze. He could read lips and laughed immediately. Over there, a cute little girl, looking at Sheldon who was running away screaming like a mental disorder, stood up and pulled her mother's hand, pointing at the tall and thin man who was running away. Mom, that brother is so stupid, don't point at him. The little girl's mother followed her daughter's gaze and quickly stood up and pulled her daughter into her arms. Warning, that big brother has a problem with his brain. If you meet such a person in the future, don't point your finger at him, ignore him, and stay away from him. Oh, the little girl agreed, not quite understanding, and looked at Sheldon's back getting farther and farther away, muttering, he looks like a dog. Run away with the tail between his legs. Adam and Peggy picked up the frightened Sheldon, left Union Station, and went to the hotel prepared for them by the MacArthur Foundation. It was getting late. Adam and Peggy, each changed into formal clothes, knocked on Sheldon's door. Sheldon, have you changed your clothes? The awards ceremony is about to begin. Here we go. Sheldon's voice came from inside, and then the door was opened, and a well-dressed Sheldon walked out. "How is it?" Sheldon was very satisfied with this formal suit, opened his arms, looked at Adam and Peggy, and waited for their praise. "Haha." Adam and Peggy both laughed. "Sheldon, you are so shiny." Shiny. Sheldon did not hear the sarcasm, and took it as a sincere compliment from Adam and the others. Wearing the green suit with shiny patterns on it, he turned around and said proudly, "I had a similar style when I was 6 years old. P.S. Thanks to the cat who can go to the sky for the reward." Chapter 969. When Sheldon met Rachel. Chicago. The MacArthur Genius Award ceremony is about to be held. Sheldon wore the formal suit he carefully bought, because he had a similar style when he was 6 years old. He didn't like to change, and he didn't think there was anything wrong with him wearing this style at the age of 20. Instead, he thought it was perfect. "Did you buy this yourself?" Adam smiled and said, "Is this also the first time you buy clothes yourself?" "Yes." Sheldon showed off his taste and said proudly, "My mother used to buy them for me, but now it seems that I can buy them myself. In the future." Because Leonard wanted to take off the pants of his beautiful neighbor Penny, Sheldon's pants were accidentally taken off. That pair of pants is an example. Sheldon also asked Leonard to explain to his mother where the pants went, and notify his mother to buy him a new pair of pants. A glimpse of the whole picture. All of Sheldon's clothes were bought by his mother. "Let Mrs. Cooper buy them for you," Peggy reminded slowly. "Why?" Sheldon was stunned. "Because Mrs. Cooper has good taste." Adam suppressed his laughter and continued, "She chose clothes for you when you were 6 years old, and you still like them very much now. Doesn't this say everything?" "That's true." Sheldon pursed his lips and tilted his head. "Let's go." Adam took the lead, with Peggy on his left hand and Sheldon on his right hand, and was quite high-spirited. Back then, in order to improve his IQ, he tried to please Peggy in various ways, hoping to gain her friendship and add some wisdom. But who knew that Peggy was too evil? Although his flattery and wake-up call really worked, but when it came to her needing friends, Peggy muttered the word friend in her mouth, but her eyes went directly over the impassioned Adam and looked at Sheldon, who was confused throughout the whole process. After talking for a long time, he had nothing to do. The sourness at that moment, don't mention it. In the past, it was Cooper in Texas and Peggy in New York, but now, Adam has successfully joined them and become one of the 3 heroes of Texas. And he is also the leader of the 3 heroes of Texas, a standard C-position debut. In the past, no one dared to imagine this except Adam. The banquet hall of the hotel, the award ceremony of the MacArthur Genius Award. A group of winners and their families, in groups of 3 or 5, toasting each other. When Adam and his 2 companions came in with the rhythm, they instantly attracted everyone's attention. Most of the looks were weird and complicated. There was nothing we could do. Adam and his 2 companions, handsome men and beautiful women, are still young, not to mention Adam and Peggy, who always look 18 years old, and whose collagen on their faces is only that of a teenager. Sheldon is also an ageless young man. When he was in his 30s, everyone looked at him and thought he was only in his 20s. He was just like 10 years younger, and now he is only 20 years old, which gives people a feeling that it is hard to say whether he is an adult or not. 3 18-year-old MacArthur Genius Award winners. Looking at them again, they are all in their 30s and 40s, which is the prime age in all walks of life. It should be a very happy and proud thing to be able to win the MacArthur Genius Award, and to win it at this age. Because of the industry tradition, those who can win the award are assumed to be the authorities and leaders in all walks of life. And now when Adam and his friends came together, this kind of happiness and pride was greatly reduced. What's more annoying is that Adam and his 3 friends are all from Texas. In that intellectually barren Lone Star state, it is already a cause for concern to have one winner every few decades. Not to mention that there are 3 winners at once now, and they are all the youngest winners in history. This is too much. Dr. Duncan. There were countless MMPs in his heart, but there were always people who were good at the scene, so he greeted him with a smile. After all, the 25 winners of this year's MacArthur Genius Award are not all from the scientific community. There are also many successful people in other fields, as well as their families. They are not scientists and are good at controlling their emotions. They are not familiar with Peggy and Sheldon, but they are too familiar with Adam's face. For them, the label of MacArthur Genius Award winner is not as good as Adam's identity as a billionaire. Adam winked at Peggy, smiled and shook hands with them, and started chatting. Those present tonight are all real elites from all walks of life, with great influence. Adam will naturally not give up such a good opportunity to make friends. One day, he will use these connections. No, forget it. Sheldon raised his hand directly in front of the hand that was extended, stepped back slightly, muttered, shook his head and refused to shake hands with anyone. Others are also arrogant. Seeing this, the scientists who originally came to talk to Sheldon for his academic achievements, and other successful people who wanted to make friends with Adam for Adam's face, automatically ignored Sheldon. Sheldon was surrounded by nothing. That's right, Sheldon is also very academically accomplished. Not to mention the rocket recovery plan that will be used by a big guy to show off in the future. Sheldon has already published many genius articles in important journals and journals at all levels of physics. In the future, he has a female graduate student fan who is still obsessed with him after he treated her like that. She passed the postdoctoral exam and still wants to pursue Sheldon, who has a girlfriend. How could Sheldon, who has a bad personality, be so obsessed without sufficient academic achievements? What can prove this point is his future rival. When dating Amy, the one who was most interested in her was Amy's ex-boyfriend Sheldon, and he said that he had been following the genius Dr. Cooper for many years. Finally, when Sheldon asked this rival fan to come to the date, he even taught his idol and his date how to be intimate. This level of obsession and the charm it represents. Let me ask, who else? This is just like the plot in an action movie. Adam didn't dare to say that he could definitely do this. Are you Adam's friend? Just when Sheldon put down his hand, a voice sounded beside him. I guess so. Sheldon thought of Adam's frequent pranks on him and wanted to say number, but the Sheldon Executive Council and his brain disagreed, and finally said this ambiguous statement. At this time, he also looked over sideways, but he saw a young woman older than him, far away from him, with a cold expression. This attitude immediately made Sheldon very fond of her. You call him Adam. Are you his friend too? Sheldon took the initiative to ask. The key is that the other person's aura makes him feel comfortable. He is a good friend of my brother. The young woman looked at Adam and Peggy, who were surrounded by people, and said lightly, last year, they came to my house for Christmas. We exchanged papers. I proposed a cooperation request to him, but he refused. Exchange papers at Christmas? When Sheldon heard it, his eyes lit up. What a genius idea. Your family's Christmas must be very exciting and happy. My mother's idea, the young woman said calmly. You have a good mother. Sheldon envied him. By the way, I'm Dr. Sheldon Cooper. What about you? The young woman said a name. Dr. Rachel Hofstadter. Chapter 970. Rachel, are you teasing me? Chicago, MacArthur Genius Award Ceremony. On site. Is Dr. Beverly Hofstadter your mother? Sheldon asked immediately after hearing the last name. Yes. Leonard's sister Rachel nodded. Do you know my mother? I've read her book The Helpless Man. Sheldon smiled sincerely. I have to say, she is really an ideal mother. I really can't imagine how the protagonist Leonard in the book can live such a failure with such an ideal mother. Are you saying this based on social customs, or do you really feel this way, or are you teasing me? Rachel glanced at Sheldon. I really think so, Sheldon said first, then asked in surprise. You understand that this is based on social customs? I can understand. But why do you say I am teasing you? You think my mother is an ideal mother? Rachel analyzed. Now that the DNA has been confirmed, you can't be her son. The only way is to be her legal son, that is, son-in-law. And we have 3 children in our family, and I am the only girl. So I understand that you may be teasing me. Is there a problem? No problem, Sheldon nodded. Very reasonable logic. But you forgot that there are 3 possibilities. Tell me about it. Rachel raised her eyebrows. First, after the DNA is confirmed, in addition to being her son-in-law, you can also be her adopted son. Sheldon stretched out a finger and said, No way. Rachel interrupted directly. My mother has no interest in adopting children. Are you sure? Sheldon shrank his head slightly. looking at Rachel with his big eyes as if he didn't believe it. I think your mother would be very interested in adopting a super genius like me. I also agree with her way of raising children. When I was a child, if I wanted to do an EEG scan, I had to stick the electrodes on myself. Are you still a child now? Rachel hit the nail on the head. No. Sheldon was stunned, and then quickly denied it. Of course I'm not a child. Okay, I understand what you mean. Then cross out this possibility, and there are 2 possibilities left. Are you sure? Rachel responded to Sheldon with the same words. Sheldon shrank his head again. Not sure. Are you mocking me? Yes. Rachel nodded very straightforwardly. Good try. Sheldon appreciated Rachel's straightforwardness, but still shook his head and said, of course I'm sure there are 2 possibilities. The first possibility is why, although I think your mother is an ideal mother, but I don't want such an ideal mother. Although my mother does not believe in science, she believes in a God that does not exist at all. That just shows that she is easy to deceive, but it does not mean that she is not good. In fact, as long as I want, my mother will always make me hot dog sausage and shredded pasta. So, your mother's motivational teaching system is more suitable for me. But it doesn't matter. I love my mother very much. Okay, Rachel nodded. This is one possibility. What about the other one? Another possibility is to become your mother's son-in-law. Why do you have to tease you? Sheldon said seriously. What does this have to do with you being the only girl in your family? My fault. Rachel was stunned, then nodded and admitted her mistake. So, are you gay? No. Sheldon shook his head. I just raised this possibility. You are right. Rachel looked at Sheldon seriously, and then said, I am sure you are not teasing me. Good. Sheldon smiled with satisfaction. If you need it, I can give you the phone numbers of my 2 younger brothers. Rachel said seriously. Why do I need their phone numbers? Sheldon frowned. Just in case. Rachel said, you said there was such a possibility, and I believe you. So if you need it in the future, you can find me or Adam and ask for the number. I don't know the situation of my brothers. I can only give you a chance. Thank you, but I'm not gay. Sheldon shook his head. Well, I believe you, Rachel said perfunctorily. Thank you. Sheldon believed Rachel's perfunctory and stopped entangled in this topic. Why are you here tonight? I didn't see your name on the list of MacArthur Genius Award winners this year. I came here with my doctoral supervisor, Rachel explained. He just got divorced and wants to pursue me. He is one of this year's winners. I thought Adam would come too, so I agreed to come and see. Still thinking about working with him? Sheldon showed a look of understanding. Yeah, Rachel nodded. He is a very good collaborator, in every sense. What project? Sheldon asked curiously. Maybe I can help you. You can't. Rachel glanced at him. I don't think so, Sheldon said unconvinced, except for the muscle aspect. I can't compare with Adam. In other aspects, I am not worse than him at all. In fact, he wanted me to tutor him in his homework before, but I was too lazy to teach him. It really has something to do with the muscle aspect, Rachel interrupted. Huh. Sheldon was stunned, snorted, then showed a look of realization, shook his head and smiled. I know what your cooperation project is. You must be like Peggy, coveting the inspiration that Adam can give her, right? Adam gives Peggy inspiration? Rachel's eyes flashed. Yes, Sheldon explained. Her previous research had stagnated for a long time, since she and Adam were indescribable, straightforward and harsh. Her inspiration has been endless. She was completely cheating, and she didn't even take me. At this point, he was quite indignant. This is my brother's phone number. Rachel looked at Sheldon like this and reported 2 sets of phone numbers. Then, without waiting for Sheldon to get entangled in this topic, she said seriously, now, tell me about Adam's inspiration to Peggy. Under her guidance, Sheldon began to talk about Adam in his eyes. Just as Howard in the future complained that Sheldon didn't dare to go on stage to give a speech, he said, you are wrong. You have been talking non-stop, and you can't just shut up. Sheldon is in a small circle, and when he talks about the topics he is interested in, his mouth really can't stop, and others can't interrupt him or stop him from finishing. Otherwise, his mouth will twitch, his eyelids will spasm, and he will cry for you to see. It seems that you already know each other. What are you talking about? After Adam exchanged greetings with everyone, he came over with Peggy, and his eyes fell on Sheldon and Rachel with a very strange look. There was nothing he could do. This was Beverly's daughter, the younger version of Beverly. In the original time and space, she did not appear. Now with Adam's butterfly effect, the two met. Adam had to say, "Amy Phil Fowler, your real rival has appeared." If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 971, Peggy vs. Rachel. Chicago, MacArthur Genius Award Ceremony. "I'm talking about working with you," Sheldon said bluntly. "Dr. Rachel Hofstadter, like Peggy, wants to work with you on indescribable things to get inspiration." "Really?" Peggy glanced at Rachel. "That's not quite accurate." Rachel smiled. "To be precise, there should be a sense of pleasure." "My mistake." Sheldon tilted his head and smiled. "This should be the fundamental reason why she wants to work with Adam. Inspiration or something, or I just reminded her." Ahem. Adam coughed lightly, fearing that these overly straightforward people would say something embarrassing again, and quickly reminded them, "Sheldon, everyone will have to say a few words when they go up to the stage to receive the award. Are you ready?" "What?" he told her. Sheldon was stunned, then looked around. The superbrain immediately counted the people present, then shook his body, shouted, and fell down. "Oh, dear." "Does he have panic disorder?" Rachel is a biologist, her mother is a psychiatrist, and she has a younger brother who often pisses his pants. She was not surprised by this phenomenon. "There are too many people here." Adam laughed. 62 people, far more than 36 people, and they are all adults. "Don't step on me." Sheldon, who was lying on the ground, murmured with his eyes closed. "What should I do now?" Rachel watched this scene with interest. "Watch me." Adam smiled and said to Sheldon, who was lying on the ground, "Sheldon, no one will step on you here, but your body is stuck to the place where so many people have stepped on. Is this really okay?" "Oh, Lord." As soon as these words came out, Sheldon opened his eyes, jumped up, opened his hands, and ran outside. "I want to wash my hands, wash my face, take a shower. I want to wash everything." "Is he always like this?" Rachel glanced at Peggy and looked at Adam with a smile. "Yes." Adam nodded and smiled. "He has had various problems such as misophobia, obsessive-compulsive disorder, and cowardice since he was a child. We are used to it. As long as you are familiar with him, it's like understanding his underlying operating logic, and you can ask him to do whatever you want." "So he is a robot?" Rachel smiled. "Almost." Adam shook his head and said, "But if he is a robot, he is also a robot that is not subject to the 3 laws of robotics. Because the first law states that a robot may not injure a human being or, through inaction, allow a human being to be in danger. Sheldon can definitely do not injure a human being, because his fighting power is not even as good as a chicken, and he can't hurt any human being at all." But Sheldon can't do the second half of the sentence. "Because once a human being is in danger, as long as that person is not his mother or grandmother, he will definitely stand by and watch. No, he will run away and stay away from danger." "Really interesting." Rachel smiled and said, "If he is really such a robot, Leonard will definitely like it very much. This is much more advanced than the hugging machine Leonard has been making since he was a child." "Don't be so sure," Peggy said. "This advanced, few people can endure it. I think my brother Leonard can do it." Seeing that Peggy finally spoke, Rachel immediately looked over and stared at Peggy, full of provocation. "Because of a sister like you, Leonard has endured too much." "Is there anything that he can't bear?" Peggy mocked. "I dare not brag like that," Rachel said nonchalantly. "It's mainly my mother's credit." "Don't be greedy, you are such a good daughter," Peggy said. "Thank you." Rachel accepted it all. Adam looked at the two people exchanging sharp words, and somehow in his mind, the classic bickering between Zhao and Wash Wang in Wulan Wei's Yuan suddenly emerged in his mind. The movement here immediately attracted the attention of Rachel's former mentor and current suitor, who came over. When Peggy and Rachel saw someone coming over, They immediately put away their magic. "What are you talking about?" Rachel's former mentor asked with a smile. "Nothing," Adam covered up and said, "just talking about Rachel's younger brother Leonard." "Oh." Rachel's former mentor glanced at the three people, and the smile on his face immediately faded. He was a genius who could win the Genius Award, and he was also a 40-year-old old man who had experienced the world. How could Adam and the other two hide the weird atmosphere from him, especially when he saw Adam's young, handsome face shining with infinite aura? He instantly made up the truth in his mind. Then he became depressed. After all, he was a genius scientist, not a successful businessman. He didn't have such a big mansion that he could face the green attack calmly or greet it with a smile. But he was rational after all. Not to mention that it was just his guess. There was no solid evidence, so he couldn't say much. Even if he saw it with his own eyes, he was just one of Rachel's pursuers now, and he had no right to accuse anything. He was not the kind of person who would make trouble, so he just stood there with a cold face, not saying a word, silently expressing his dissatisfaction. Ahem. Seeing that the four people stood together but didn't say a word, the scene was extremely awkward. Adam could only stand up and cough lightly. "So, how is Leonard recently?" "I haven't paid attention to it. I don't know," Rachel said frankly, "but since you care about him so much, I will pay more attention to him in the future." As soon as these words came out, the scene was awkward again. "Adam, let's go see Sheldon," Peggy said. "The award ceremony is about to begin." "Yes," Adam immediately agreed. "Let's go find Sheldon." Then he nodded to Rachel and Rachel's former mentor. "Excuse me for a moment." Leaving the banquet hall, Adam and Peggy went to find Sheldon. "I hate her," Peggy suddenly said. Adam paused and looked at her. "You are not allowed to pay attention to her," Peggy said seriously. Adam knew what she meant by ignoring. After all, when Peggy pushed him down, Peggy knew who Adam was. She didn't care before. This was the first time Peggy took the initiative to say such things to Adam. But Adam was not surprised. Peggy was proud. Few people could catch her eye. Rachel was no match. But Rachel was the one closest to her. Whether it was her outstanding appearance, her genius brain, her outstanding achievements in her own research field at a young age, or her research field, there was a wide range of possibilities for cooperation with Adam. In addition, Rachel was obviously trying to compete with her for Adam, without hiding it. All these factors combined, it was as if something was pulling her. When she lowered her head slightly, she saw the man who looked a bit like her last time, staring at her again, which made Peggy very unhappy. "Okay." Adam and Peggy looked at each other and said a word slowly. They smiled at each other and went hand in hand to find Sheldon, who had hidden back in the room. Chapter 972. Sheldon goes on stage. Bang bang bang. Sheldon knock, knock, knock. Sheldon, knock, knock, knock. Sheldon. The classic knock on the door sounded. "I'm not going to participate." In the bathroom, Sheldon, who was constantly washing himself to make himself innocent again, shouted through the door, "I'm definitely not going to participate." "Only 62 people," Adam teased. "We are just like you. We all have childlike innocence and interest. You just treat these people as children. Isn't it okay?" The small group where Sheldon can speak freely refers to the small group with less than 36 adults, and the number of children can be relaxed to 70. According to him, he won't be trampled to death in this way. In fact, he overestimated himself. He even relaxed the number of children to 70. He didn't know the power of the naughty children at all. Adults at least have a string to break there. The naughty children are completely reckless. According to Adam's idea, there should be less than 36 adults and less than 12 children. In this way, Sheldon's safety is a little guaranteed. Of course, in this case, Adam will not correct Sheldon. "You are so old. How can you be like children?" Sheldon shouted. Adam's mouth twitched. Why did this sound so strange? Finally, when the staff came to urge him, Adam successfully persuaded Sheldon to leave the room and took him to the award ceremony. "Are you sure?" Sheldon asked again. "Don't worry," Adam comforted. "If I can't do it, you won't go on stage then." "Okay, You swear to my mother, Sheldon reminded. I know, Adam said with a smile. The award ceremony officially began. Adam deliberately asked the staff to arrange the 3 Texas heroes at the end. Therefore, at the beginning, he just sat down and watched the winners go on stage to receive the trophy and give their acceptance speeches. The prize of $500,000 was not given on the spot. Instead, it would be paid within 5 years. The atmosphere at Adam's table was more subtle, because Leonard's sister Rachel was very persistent in persuading the staff to move the seat to Adam's table with the reluctant former mentor. Peggy didn't say anything at all. Rachel's former mentor also had a cold face and didn't want to talk. Adam promised Peggy, although it was just ignoring her, it was ignoring that aspect. But in this situation, Adam felt that it would not be wrong to ignore her literally. This time, he came here to receive the award happily. Adam would not make Peggy unhappy. You know, Peggy had nothing to say about him. She always smiled to make him happy and never looked at him coldly. Therefore, everyone was silent. Only Rachel was chatting with Sheldon. Your research sounds interesting. Sheldon was surprised. Of course, Rachel was not modest and said naturally, you can download my research paper from our university's server. I will. Sheldon gave a positive answer and smiled. You can also download my wonderful paper from our school's server, although you may not understand it. But I promise you, as long as you can understand it, you will be amazed. Sheldon began to talk about how great his research was. Rachel picked up the goblet, raised it to Sheldon, and then took a sip of champagne. If it weren't for Sheldon's relationship with Adam, and he was obviously Peggy's good friend, she really didn't want to pay attention to him anymore. What do you mean you may not understand? This made her glance at Peggy, who was sitting next to Adam with a smile on her face. She was even more angry, because after they first met on Christmas Eve last year, she paid special attention to Peggy's situation and really couldn't understand most of Peggy's papers. Seeing this, Sheldon, although a little unhappy about being interrupted, still followed the local customs and raised the goblet on his table and drank a sip of pink strawberry juice. Delicious. After drinking it, Sheldon's eyes lit up and he couldn't help but exclaimed, then took another sip with a satisfied look on his face. That's right, at this party, other people's goblets were filled with yellow-orange champagne. Only Sheldon's goblets were filled with pink strawberry juice. He and Peggy were both only 20 years old and could not drink in public. But unlike him, Peggy's goblets were filled with ordinary water. Not as childish as Sheldon. At such an age, she was still honestly drinking such pink juice in public. It made others look at her sideways. Rachel's former mentor saw this scene and looked at Sheldon with a much softer look. In fact, it's not that adults don't like to drink juice. It's just that in this kind of occasion, holding a glass of such juice, people feel that you are either mentally ill or officially out. Matthew used to be particularly distressed by this. Rajesh drank it in a very fancy way, which made countless people misunderstand. Well, it can't be said to be a real misunderstanding. Sheldon has no awareness of this at all. He just likes to drink these yummy juices. It has nothing to do with mental illness or coming out. He is still a child at heart. Children just like to drink pink and delicious juice. There is nothing wrong with it. Rachel's former mentor went on stage to receive the award first. When giving his acceptance speech, he couldn't help but be sarcastic and insinuate. What he meant was that the winners of the MacArthur Genius Award in the past were all leaders in their respective fields and real authorities, but now the threshold has begun to be lowered. Most of the time, his eyes were on Adam and the other two. Adam and Peggy took it indifferently. He decided that when he organized a similar award in the future, he would make the prize money much higher than the general awards, and then he would definitely nominate the other party. Let's see whether Napoleon's classic French joke will reappear at that time. Sheldon nodded frequently, because he didn't understand the innuendo at all, and he agreed very much with Rachel's former mentor's statement that the quality of the MacArthur Genius Award had declined. But in his eyes, Rachel's former mentor was one of those who lowered the quality. There were only 25 winners in total. Soon it was the end. The highly watched Texas 3. Peggy's acceptance speech was very concise. Adam responded to Rachel's former mentor's sarcasm with emoticon-style complaints, and from time to time he pressed the wheel on everyone's face. causing everyone to laugh and shout, not to mention the blushing female family members. This scene made Rachel's former mentor, who had been sarcastic before, look black and green, because in his opinion, Adam was so good, and the girl he liked seemed to be pursuing him, and now Adam's words were so flirtatious, his heart was heavy, and he felt so uncomfortable. Family members, please leave for the time being. Adam saw that everyone was in a good mood, and if he continued to talk, people would think he was too romantic, so he stopped. Next is the award ceremony for my good friend Dr. Sheldon Cooper. My good friend is still very young and is not used to facing so many people at once. Please have pity on me. Family members, everyone laughed again, but they were very polite and left temporarily under the guidance of the staff. Only the real winners of the evening were left. At Adam's reminder, Sheldon took a glance and found that the number of people had been reduced to a level he could accept, so he went on stage confidently. P.S. Thanks to Tanya Shumo, Where the Wind Blows 404 I Go, and book friend 1611060524078990 for their rewards. Chapter 973, Joke Teller Sheldon Chicago. Under Adam's coordination, Sheldon was the last to appear. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, he tightened his bow tie, raised his chin, and walked up proudly. That's right. How can such an occasion be without the most handsome, solemn, and timeless bow tie? As long as there are not enough people to trample him to death, he is not afraid of any occasion. Of course, it is limited to making friends through literature. If it involves muscles, he can only slip away. Thanks, Dr. Strange. I will take over from now on. Sheldon took the microphone from Adam, and he was obviously excited as soon as he opened his mouth. Okay. Are you guys ready for some really interesting fun? At this point, he pointed at Adam. It's not that Adam's jokes are bad, but most of his jokes are aimed at the lower three roads, which are a bit too vulgar. Who are we? We are genius scientists. If we want to make jokes, we should say something interesting and profound. Adam didn't mind at all, and sat back in his seat, watching Cooper's talk show happily. Why are we gathered here today? Sheldon looked around at everyone. Because we are all geniuses, that's what the organizer said, although I have reservations about this. At this point, he raised his chin to the staff. I have already emailed the MacArthur Foundation with the detailed comments and opinions on previous MacArthur Genius Award winners. You should read it and make corrections. The staff was confused but maintained a professional smile, thinking to himself, of course we will read it, and of course we will make corrections. In the future, we will definitely block troublemakers like you. Great. Seeing the staff's smiling face, Sheldon assumed that the other party agreed, then he turned his head and focused his gaze on everyone again. Now it's time to start making jokes. There are many academic authorities who won awards today. Dr. Grant from the Department of Geology. You have the same last name as Dr. Alan Grant, the archaeologist in the movie Jurassic Park. So, tell me, Dr. Grant, when can we go to Island Nublar to see dinosaurs? No? Why? Isn't this the greatest achievement of you geologists? Oh, it's the biologists' fault. Because biologists don't want to clone? Dr. Philip from the Department of Biology. What do you have to say? What? You just got divorced? No, you majored in biology, and you are an authority in biology. How can you not handle the most basic communication between organisms? I see. It's because you have better biological partners and cooperation projects, right? You biologists love to start new biological cooperation projects, right? Haha. Just kidding. I know you want to say that the real reason is the opposition of anthropologists, because anthropologists say that cloning should be cautious. Dr. Wolf from the Department of Anthropology. What do you think? Oh, yes. The ending of Jurassic Park has clearly shown your attitude. Those who disregard biogenetic ethics and blindly try to use biogenetic technology are all crazy. Humphrey, Dr. Trander and Dr. Philip looked unhappy, and it seemed that they were seriously opposed to this, because genius and madness have always been only a fine line apart. Dr. Duncan, come out to receive the guests. Except for a few of us genius scientists who are truly studying the origin of the universe, the rest are all your high-quality customers. The Nobel Prize in Biology is beckoning to you. Hello? Is everyone still there? Don't be unhappy. I said it's time for jokes. Dr. Grant, how could the greatest achievement of a geologist be a Jurassic Park? My mistake. Although I am a scientist, a real scientist, my understanding of geologists comes entirely from Jurassic Park. The rest of the time, I really don't care much about geology. I don't even know when geology became a science. Are you geologists also real scientists? And the ones in Jurassic Park are archaeologists and paleontologists? Whatever. They are all digging soil and playing with stones. They are all the same. Geology is also a science. Your greatest achievement should be your sense of humor. Hee hee ha ha tilde. All the MacArthur Genius Award winners frowned. The geologist Dr. Grant, biologist Dr. Phillip, and anthropologist Dr. Wolf, who were named, looked even darker. Actually, I don't know him well. Adam saw that Sheldon was so coquettish even without drinking, and many people looked at him, and explained with a smile. Then he winked at the staff who had wanted to correct the mistake a long time ago. Thank you Dr. Cooper for your speech. I declare the 2000 MacArthur Genius Award ceremony a successful conclusion. The staff grabbed the microphone from Sheldon's hand, stuffed the trophy into Sheldon's hand, and directly ended this alternative award ceremony. He was worried that if he delayed it for a while, someone would really rush to the stage and beat Sheldon violently. At that time, it would be a real loss of face for scientists, and the Genius Award would become a laughingstock. As soon as these words came out, everyone stood up and filed out, no longer paying attention to Sheldon. Rachel, Dr. Phillip, the biology authority who was ridiculed, called out to Rachel who was sitting still. I'll stay a little longer. Rachel smiled. Dr. Phillip was helpless when he saw this. If it was before, he would definitely stay with her to prevent Adam from having bad intentions and looking at the pot while eating from the bowl. But at this moment, when he saw Sheldon's innocent face, he was furious. He was afraid that if he stayed any longer, he would really become a simple animal, and go up to hit this young face hard. At that time, he would lose his identity in front of other people, especially the one he wanted to pursue. So, he had no choice but to leave alone. Oh, boy. Seeing this, Sheldon shook his head in dissatisfaction. Everyone says that I don't understand humor. Now let's see who doesn't understand humor. Very interesting speech. Rachel looked at Sheldon with appreciation. It seems that there are still people who know how to appreciate real humor. Sheldon was very relieved. Adam and Peggy looked at each other and were speechless. They could naturally see that Rachel's words were not said to please Sheldon or Adam, but from the heart. As for why such a slapping word was really considered funny by Rachel, it's also very simple. Because Rachel is the younger version of Beverly, she has all these characteristics, such as being sharp-tongued and sarcastic, arrogant, honest and sincere. She thinks this is normal. Let's exchange humor, Adam said with a smile. We'll go back first, but don't leave the hotel. Well, Sheldon, you'd better not even leave the room. Come back to New York with us tomorrow, and I'll help you arrange a car back to Pasadena. Why? Sheldon asked in surprise. Why? Adam laughed even more happily. You always make fun of geologists, thinking that their greatest achievement is their sense of humor. But you are wrong. Am I wrong? Sheldon shook his head and laughed. I will never be wrong. Then what do you think is the greatest achievement of geologists? Rachel laughed. Of course it's rocks. Adam patted Sheldon on the back of his head and reminded him, they are geologists. What they like most is to collect all kinds of rocks. It is reasonable for them to carry their favorite rocks with them. Normally, they would not be willing to take out their collection of rocks to verify the scientific question of which is harder, the skull or the rock. But Sheldon is different. They like Sheldon's humor very much. I believe they will be happy to take out their collection of rocks and do an experiment with Sheldon. Chapter 974 Sheldon's Diary, Chicago 2000 Chicago. The MacArthur Genius Award ceremony officially ended. Adam reminded Sheldon and asked him if he was interested in using his skull and stone for an intimate experiment. Sure enough, Sheldon, who always likes scientific experiments, still looks down on geologists in this regard. He thinks that the geologist's stone is not worthy of being experimented with by the brain of a real scientist like him. So, as soon as Sheldon returned to the room, He immediately locked the door. In the bedroom, Sheldon lay in a classic zombie sleeping posture. He just closed his eyes and immediately opened them again. Looking at the closed door, it's not that you can still hear the lullaby of Chicago welcomes you here. After all, this is a land covered by capital Chicago typewriters and the like are nothing compared to them, so they naturally stay away. But this background sound kept ringing in Sheldon's mind. Sheldon, who was restless, couldn't help getting up, walked to the bedroom door, twisted and twisted the door that had been locked for a long time, confirmed it was locked again and again, then nodded slightly and turned to the bed. But after just 2 steps, he calmed down and immediately hugged the cabinet next to him. He used all his strength to move the cabinet to the door little by little and pressed it against the door. Looking at the cabinet against the door, Sheldon let out a long sigh, then returned to bed and resumed his zombie sleeping position. But new problems followed. He opened his eyes again, sat up, and looked at the French window next to him. This is a 26-story building. Logically, no one can come in through the French window to attack him. But countless classic movies have told him that unexpected visitors who fell from the sky can easily enter the room through the French window. So Sheldon got off the bed again, came to the French window, looked around, and wanted to think of a way to completely block the French window like the bedroom door, so that he could feel at ease. Unfortunately, after comparing the methods of the unexpected visitors in his mind, Sheldon found that he could not stop it at all. After coming to this conclusion that made him nervous and scared, Sheldon raised his head all of a sudden, bent his body, and complained, "Damn juice." Fortunately, this is a hotel, and the bedroom has its own bathroom, so there is no need to move the cabinet and go out to the bathroom. Sheldon, who is anxious to pee, relieved his bladder, looked at the helpless French window. His face fell, picked up the phone, and called Adam. "The number you dialed is turned off." Sheldon frowned and called Peggy again. As expected, he received the same reminder. Sheldon picked up the hotel's landline again and called, but found that it was not connected at all. "Damn, is it so happy to be indescribable?" Sheldon immediately guessed why Adam didn't want to answer his call, and muttered dissatisfiedly. Then, he went to the bathroom again. After coming out, he struggled for a while, walked to the door of the bedroom, and used his hungry strength to move the cabinet against the door with difficulty, opened the bedroom door and walked to the door. Just when he was about to turn the knob to knock on Adam's door, his hand suddenly stopped there. Sheldon took back his hand that was about to turn the knob, touched the back of his head that was tapped by Adam before, and made a nasal sound of fear and entanglement. Obviously, he listened to what Adam said. Those geologists, biologists, and anthropologists who don't understand his humor are likely to attack him with stones. This kind of thing has happened before. So, Sheldon lay on the door, and through the cat's eye of the door, he kept peeking outside to see if there was any movement. Then, he lay on the ground again, looking out through the crack of the door to see if there was anyone squatting and ambushing him. "I see you." Sheldon, who was lying on the ground and looking out, shouted in surprise, "Don't hide." After waiting for a while, there was no movement outside. There should be no one. Sheldon got up, took a long breath, turned the knob, opened it slightly, stuck his head out of the door, looked out, and was ready to withdraw at any time. The long corridor was empty. Who is still wandering around outside at this hour? Knock, knock, knock. Adam, Peggy. Knock, knock. Adam, Peggy. Knock, knock, knock. Adam, Peggy. Who is it? In the living room, Adam, who was watching a movie with Peggy, smiled at Peggy, raised his head and asked. Peggy pushed Adam away, stood up to put on her clothes, and motioned Adam to open the door. Sheldon Cooper." Sheldon lowered his voice. "What's the matter?" Adam walked to the door and asked with a smile through the door. "Let me in first." Sheldon looked left and right, fearing that someone would sneak attack him, the son of Texas with full of martial virtues. "If you have something to say, say it." Adam smiled and said, "Go back to bed quickly. It's so late and you're still wandering around outside. Aren't you afraid that Dr. Grant, the geologist, will ask you to appreciate his precious rocks with the back of your head?" At this point, he glanced at Peggy, who had already put on her clothes, opened the door, looked at Sheldon, and teased, "Believe me, Unless it's the headrest, the glass window, the wall. Nothing is worth risking your back head for an experiment. Nothing is worth risking my back head. Sheldon looked left and right, and immediately slipped in, breathed a sigh of relief, and immediately corrected Adam's fallacy. Is there anything wrong? Adam asked again. Nothing. Although Sheldon is a coward, sometimes he is very calm about this, but unless it is absolutely necessary, he doesn't want to shout and remind others about this. You are watching a movie. It's obvious. Adam smiled and said, if you have nothing to do, go back quickly and don't disturb us watching the movie. I'll watch it with you. Sheldon walked directly to the sofa. I don't recommend you do this. Adam stood there with his hands folded, reminding with a smile. Sheldon looked at the sofa, then looked at Adam and Peggy, and suddenly realized it. He took a few steps back in disgust and prepared to sit on a chair far away. I'll watch it with you. Say it again. Adam smiled and reminded before he was about to sit down. I don't recommend you do this. Sheldon's waist, which had just bent down, immediately jumped up and moved away from the contaminated chair again. He looked around and said in a dilemma, wait a minute, my UV lamp is still in my bag. I'll go get it. No need. Peggy smiled. You sit down. Adam is teasing you. Well, it's not necessary. Adam laughed. Unless you don't stay in this room, it's useless for you to go back and get the UV lamp. Sheldon looked at Adam and then at Peggy. He didn't know who to believe. He wanted to go back, but he didn't dare. He was so anxious that his mouth twitched and his eyelids spasmed. Okay. Peggy glanced at Adam with a reproachful look. Let's watch a movie together. Sheldon, what do you want to watch? What's here? Seeing that Adam no longer suggested, Sheldon chose to believe Peggy, moved over step by step, and began to choose the disc. Determined to stay with Adam and the others, he swore that he would never come here again. P.S. Thanks to bookfriend 202104104211503550007 for the reward. Chapter 975 Sheldon, Adam, you can see the Matrix, right? Chicago. Sheldon's arrival disturbed Adam and Peggy, but Adam thought about it and stopped teasing him. The East Coast and the West Coast are thousands of kilometers apart. If it weren't for this special situation, the three of them would have no time to get together. It's okay to stay at home together. Just treat it as a way to adapt to the Big Bang life in the future in advance. Here is the director's track version of The Matrix. Do you want to watch it? Adam walked over, sorted the discs, took out one, and motioned to Sheldon. I've seen it. Sheldon smiled. But we can watch it together. It will definitely be fun. Hee. Adam complained. Wouldn't that be the unique director's track of The Matrix plus Sheldon's commentary version? Yes. Sheldon nodded seriously. Adam walked over and sat in the C position. What are you doing? Peggy suddenly laughed. But Sheldon stretched his neck to look at the projector, but his face was almost touching Adam's face. This position has the best audio-visual effect, Sheldon replied with a stiff neck. Easy. Adam stood up and moved the sofa to the side. Now. Great. Sheldon looked at the projector, then at Adam and Peggy, and even opened his voice to test the sound seriously, and then nodded with satisfaction. Can we start? Adam smiled. Let's start. Sheldon stared at the projector. The Matrix officially began. The process was not as exciting and interesting as when Adam and Peggy went to see it when it was first released. Because there were two extra voices, the director and Sheldon, it was too noisy. After the curtain fell, Sheldon snorted. What's wrong? Adam complained. I have a question. Sheldon looked at Adam, his eyes scrutinizing him back and forth, and then he waved his hands back and forth in front of Adam's eyes. Can you see the Matrix? Do you think I'm Neo? Adam was speechless. A bit like that. Sheldon stared at Adam and analyzed. Neo is completely different before and after he can see the Matrix. And the difference between you before and you now is even greater than the change before and after Neo saw the Matrix. So you saw your Matrix, right? Adam's mouth twitched. Define it as greater than the change before and after Neo saw the Matrix. In the Matrix, Neo became a flying Superman after seeing the Matrix. Although Adam also cheated, how come the difference before and after is greater than Neo's? Who is he looking down on, isn't it? Sheldon said frankly, you are now the same as me and Peggy. and you before were just you. This difference is incredible. You must have your matrix, right? Peggy looked at Adam, thinking. As a person next to her, she felt more deeply about this, although she didn't know how Adam transformed. But judging from Neo's experience in the Matrix, Adam's changes before and after really have some of the magic and omnipotence after seeing through the Matrix. Neo can dodge bullets and has bullet time. Adam seems to have it. Otherwise the parameters of the racing formula he asked her to design wouldn't be so exaggerated. Neo can take people flying. Adam can barely be considered one. And what's more powerful than Neo is that Adam can give her inspiration, and even seems to give her youth and strength. The way he gives it is not science fiction, but magical. Now that Sheldon has pointed out the Matrix, Peggy feels that Adam may have really seen through his Matrix at some point. Okay, I'm going to show my cards. Adam posed in a classic pose. Are you ready? Oh, Lord. Seeing that Adam was about to tell his real secret, Sheldon moved his body immediately and looked at Adam nervously, expecting the explosive news. I'm Batman. Adam imitated his voice seriously. No, you're not. Sheldon was stunned and immediately quit. Do I have money? Do I have enough IQ? Am I good at fighting? Adam glanced at Peggy, omitted the item of his eye romantic enough, and smiled. It's still a growth type. I'm not Batman. Who am I? You don't fight crime. Sheldon retorted. That's because you don't know. Adam explained. The news was jointly erased by the NIPD and the FBI, and you are far away in Pasadena, so it's normal that you don't know. If you don't believe me, ask Peggy. I'll tell you in secret that she is actually Wonder Woman. We have worked together more than once. Really? Sheldon was a little confused and looked at Peggy. Don't listen to his nonsense. Peggy rolled her eyes at Adam. You lied to me. Sheldon glared at Adam. Peggy is lying to you. Adam teased. Ask her. Swear on math. She didn't wear the Wonder Woman uniform and work with me. Batman. Don't. Peggy was speechless. Are you really Batman and Wonder Woman? Sheldon's eyes widened, and then he said alertly, wait, that's not right. If you really exist, why would the NIPD and the FBI deliberately cover up the traces of your existence? And there is no trace at all? That's simple. Adam smiled and said, because I have money. I asked them to do this. Just think about it yourself. In the Gotham City of the comics, no one really knows the identity of Batman. Don't joke. Such a big and expensive Batmobile and Batfighter, except for Bruce Wayne, the king of Gotham. Who can afford it? Only fools really don't know. The rest who don't know are just pretending to be stupid and playing house with supercapitalist Wei-Ban-Cheng. No tilde. Sheldon couldn't accept this statement. He wanted to refute it, but he couldn't refute this logical flaw. Superman wears glasses, and others can't recognize him. It can also be said to be magic. Batman, will you be my Alfred? Adam continued to tease him. No, Sheldon shouted. He always called himself Batman. In order to shout out the classic line I am Batman, he even learned the voice of Batman in the Batman movie. How could he be Alfred? Don't tease him, Peggy interrupted. Sheldon, don't listen to his nonsense. There is no Batman or Wonder Woman. They are all comics. Adam just didn't focus on his studies before, so he looked stupid. His IQ has always been high, just like you and me. Don't think too much. Really? Sheldon fell into a state of suspicion again. Adam wanted to continue teasing him, but Peggy stopped him and finally gave up. In order to avoid making him cry, he would have to call Mrs. Cooper to comfort her collapsed son. The three Texas heroes continued to watch the movie. Sheldon was quite tense all day. After relaxing, he leaned on the sofa and fell asleep directly. Adam and Peggy covered him with a quilt and went to sleep in the bedroom. If this wasn't Chicago, with the most famous Chicago typewriter, Adam would have been ready to drive Peggy and Sheldon back to New York overnight. But the shotgun was merciless. Adam could only be patient and hold Peggy to sleep until dawn, and then he returned home with honor. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.